Alrighty. Oh, hush. Had a duty. Did you see the East Wing of the White House got control alt deleted? I did. Yeah. The complete destruction of the East Wing of the White House, which Trump said wasn't to be touched. In previous discussions about this big ballroom, he promised that it wasn't going to touch a bit of the original White House structure. By the way, the East Wing has been a part of the White House since the 40s, I believe. But I suppose the ballroom was more important. I suppose the ongoing maintenance on a $280 million ballroom is a better expenditure of tax dollars in Trump's mind than Affordable Care Act subsidies. This should really be, I mean, I really don't think that this in and of itself is the biggest deal in the world, but this should be a way stronger indicator to people that Trump doesn't give a shit about any of the things that he brings up on his campaign. You know, like what I'm trying to say is that I don't think that the East Wing of the White House going away and being demolished by a ballroom or being replaced by a ballroom is necessarily the worst thing in the world that could ever possibly happen. But it is another one of the many cascading signs that Donald Trump cares way more about how he is perceived, about the legacy that he lives, or the legacy that he leaves on American governance and American cultural identity. He is way more concerned about Trump than he is about the American people. And I don't know about you, but that's not exactly a trait I associate with good presidents, right? If I think about presidents that I think did the job competently, if not, were a little bit evil themselves, right? I think about dudes like Obama. I don't think he was a great president, but I do think that he was a good president in that he continued he continued America's operation. He continued the process of keeping America a place where people can more or less live. Now, obviously, there are lots of fucked up and horrible things that Obama did. Certainly, he did not stop the march towards fascism, but he was an example of a politician who was, at the very least, more concerned with the American people and with governing than he was about Obama. Obama was not nearly as self-centered or self-concerned as Trump is. Hence, why the country didn't look this fucked up in 2012 or in 2016. Yo, don't know if I can mod. About to start drinking. Oh, you're fine, Othello. You're fine. Drunk mod if you want to. Don't mod if you don't feel like you're comfortable with the responsibility given your inebriated state. You still got a mustache, bruh? I literally cannot get rid of the pores in my nose. Or not my nose, but the pores on my upper lip. I've tried a bunch of different things to make it go away, and it's not hair, it's literally just pores. So there's not much I can do except wearing makeup over it, and I have not exactly found a great shade of makeup that matches my face and can contour this correctly and cover it up, so. Is what it is. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Every single time you hit that like button is another chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your pleasure by increasing the number of people who engage in the chat. So please do that now if you haven't done it already. There are 34 people watching right now. If I hit that like button, we would have 17. Yeah, 17 likes instantly. So please do that now if you haven't done so already. The haircut got to change, not gonna lie. You got the medieval monk look going on. Not really. Not really. I mean, I can pull my hair down if that makes it a little easier on your eyes. If I may interject, what's your opinion of James Brown and his music? James Brown. The name sounds familiar. Motown artist, maybe? I don't know. I like the bangs. I do too. Thank you for the thanks. Yeah. I'm totally gonna pronounce that name out loud. Yeah. Totally. Can you stop looking directly at the camera? Day after day, I'm more confused. But I look through the night and the pouring rain. I just can't remember who exactly he is. I'm not that great with like the names of artists, so I'll forget the names of people I actually like listen to all the time. I vaguely remember the name James Brown. I'm thinking that it's some kind of classic rock artist or a Motown artist, but I can't remember exactly. I can't remember a like super popular song by James Brown. If you could remind me of one, then it might be an artist I'm familiar with, and I'm just not familiar with them by name. Trans for Trump, slugs for salt. Slugs for salt. Blacks for the KKK. Mexicans for ice. What's trans for Trump mean? It means somebody's a trans Uncle Tom, is what it means. I know some Mexicans that are for ice. Yeah, no, I know. I think that they're just as backwards and, I think that they're just as brain rotted about this as white people are, for the record. I don't think that merely being Mexican automatically makes your opinion on immigration correct. Okay. I think Mexican people that are anti-immigrant are pretty brain rotted too, especially because many of the like immigrant families who are anti-immigration don't seem to recognize that they were able to get in on a process that has been made more difficult over the last 20 or 30 years. So a lot of people, there are a lot of like second generation immigrants running around right now that are pro-Trump. And the reason that they're pro-Trump is because they look at illegal immigrants as these cheaters, these liars that just skipped the line on a process that their parents had to wait a long time for. But what they don't realize is that their parents had to wait 2 or 3 years. Sure, it was complicated. It was a hard process for them. But current immigrants have like 5-year long fucking wait lists in some cases. The US only issues like 10,000 green cards a year or like 10,000 permanent resident cards or whatever. So we have a tremendous amount of immigrants who want to get into this country and start living in this country and contributing to this country's tax base, but we don't actually put out enough of those of those. I can't remember if it's visas. I can't remember which document it is, but there's a limit of 10,000, and it basically limits the amount of immigrants that we can take in legally and offer that direct path to citizenship. And it's an artificial constraint that has been lowered, actually, in my lifetime. I believe it's been lowered in my lifetime. Take that BS flag down and be a real man. How about you fucking make me, bitch? I'll take that flag down when some ICE Gestapo thug runs up in here and tears it down, bitch. Until that day, I'm going to continue being an American, exercising my First Amendment right to display whatever the fuck flag I want to. Get it? Got it? Good. Are you pro-Israel or pro-Palestine? 100% pro-Palestine. I mean, I'm not like pro Hamas. I understand that Palestine's got some problems as a polity, right? I'm not, pro jihadist terror organization, but I am pro the right of Palestinian people to live and breathe and for them to have some kind of country that works for them functionally, rather than being made second class citizens in their own fucking home of origin. Excuse me. Why are you against Israel? Because they can't stop attacking their neighbors. They can't stop attacking their neighbors. They can't stop encroaching on other people's territory. They can't stop hitting old ladies over the head with sticks. They can't stop bombing children's apartment homes. But honestly, the first three reasons I listed are the primary ones. They cannot stop attacking their neighbors. They cannot seem to manage the Palestinians in a way that is not completely anti-humanitarian. And they do not seem to be very satisfied with their current borders. Those three things together make Israel a pretty impossible state to support. Upset stomach? A little bit, yeah. A little bit. You believe in God? No. Not the God you believe in, that's for sure. I'm not saying that all Palestinians is bad, but it's not Israel's fault that they are trying to protect their country from the evil of... Yeah, dude, that's just ridiculous. That's just like that's just like broad anti-Muslim sentiment brought into policy. The fact of it is, Muslim people, when not subjected to the chaos that is the ever-changing political and wartime landscape of the Middle East, they tend to normalize particularly. Like, I've met plenty of Muslim Americans, and they are all of them Americans, first and foremost. Yeah, they might be Muslims. They might pray 5 times a day and turn towards Mecca when they do it. But you know what else they do? Love hamburgers and American movies and American shows and American music. They know what the celebrities are. They know who the fucking baseball team playing right now is. They know like these are Americans we're talking about here. And if you're talking about a Palestinian, then you're talking about a Palestinian Arab. You're talking about somebody who has been, raised around all the same shit Israelis have for the most part. This idea that Palestine can exist as basically like a little enclave within Israel and not be exposed to any of the Western culture that comes out of Israel is just absurd. It's just absurd. And the fact of it is, in every Islamic militant country, with the possible exception of Iran, there is widespread disagreement with the people in power. Wide fucking spread. In fact, in most places where authoritarian regimes rule in the Mid East, a lot of people that live there, when asked and put into a position where they can be forthright and honest about how they really feel, a lot of them believe, yes, Ayatollah Khomeini is a really bad guy, really flawed guy, horrible humanitarian and all that. But you know what? He's not the American imperialists. We're not all starving, At least we're not starving. Like, yeah, we can't express ourselves and everything, but man, I lost so much of my family back. And that is how so many people feel when you're talking about people in the Middle East who look at their authoritarian rulers and for some reason support them over the Western powers that you think that they should support. Well, the reason for that is because Western powers look at Middle Eastern people and really any other people that we're engaging in colonialism with as units of profit and labor. We don't look at them as human beings, and so we don't consider their needs as human beings. Whereas their own leaders, at the very least, consider their needs as human beings. Now, they might not recognize fundamental needs, right? Obviously, there are human rights abuses that go on all across authoritarian regimes in the Middle East. But if you're looking for a reason why would a Palestinian support Hamas over the obvious over the obvious better choice of the the PLO or Israeli governance or something like that. And the reason for that is because anytime they trust the Israelis, they starve. Anytime they trust the Israelis, they get shot. Anytime they trust the Israelis, they get bombed. Is it really so great a question that they've like put their chips in with some evil dictatorial regime like Hamas? Which, by the way, has got to be the least competent and equipped dictatorial regime on the planet. Every so often, Hamas does some shit against its own people because they literally cannot maintain law and order the way they want to see it in Palestine. And the average Palestinian rejects Hamas just as much as the fucking rest of the world does, and just as much as the regular fucking average Israeli does. They just recognize that Hamas, given like if you've got one group of people that are trying to annihilate you in every way that they can, completely to a man, and you've got another group of people that doesn't want to annihilate you but does want to subjugate you, you're going to take the ones who are just going to subjugate you because at the very least you can fight back against subjugation. You can't fight back from a grave. You can't fight back from a grave. And so when faced with the choice, death or subjugation, a lot of people in Palestine choose subjugation. The belief being, of course, we can fight back against subjugation. We can't fight back against rockets, tanks, Israeli missiles, etc. Chat having no argument again. Chat never has an argument. By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button is another chance to talk to even more people, which increases the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people who engage in the chat. So please do so if you haven't done so already. Get a job? I have a job. Legally. I literally am considered employed. Legally. As crazy as it may be, this is a job, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Well, actually, I guess it would be the United States Department of Labor and Statistics. Sorry. Or Department of Labor Statistics. I don't remember. You get what I'm saying, though. Some old bureaucracy out there. It's Phil, not Phoebe. Couldn't be farther off, actually. Keep guessing my dead name, though. What's up, everybody? Hi. Hi. Hello. Man, there's so many people. It's been a while since we've had a well-attended stream. What's up, everybody? Hit that like button. Do you support furries? Yeah, I'm down with furries. I'm cool with furries. What's up, Spooky? I'm okay with furries, dude. I'm not like anti-furry, but I'm also not a furry myself. I'm not like I'm not like out here advocating for furry rights or whatever, but I don't think people should be like overly mean to you guys. I certainly don't think people should commit violence against you or anything like that. I think you have every right to dress up like a hog and, fuck somebody dressed like a fox if you want to. What business is it of mine, Phoebe, I like the way you spit in facts insta sub. What's your channel about in general? Basically just this, having conversations, honestly. It really is just about having conversations about difficult topics with coarse language and people being their most honest, genuine selves. Because I feel like there's a lot of discourse and a lot of conversation that happens in America, but I feel like almost all of it is done under pretext. This is a place to drop the pretext. This is a place where you can come in and be as wrong as you want to be, and we'll have an argument about it. And as long as I can read what you're saying and you're not just spamming, you're not going to get banned. You can use whatever coarse language you want. You can call me a slur if that's what you have to do to get your point out, And that is what sets this place apart from a lot of other places on the internet. Thank you, Clown World, with the $2. His dead name is Donald Trump is the best president. That's actually true. It was incredibly hard to get my dead name changed because the person that I went to for it, the like county clerk, was a Trump supporter, and she was like, "How are you going to change your name from this wonderful name that was conceived of in 1998 before Donald Trump was ever a serious political candidate?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I mean, I know it's going to be hard, but I just got to do it. It just doesn't fit me." 676767676767676767. It's Ben. I back. What's up, Ben? Why do you only blame Israel and not the Jews? Because the Jews have nothing to do with it, bro. The Jews are not Israel, and Israel is not the Jews. What do you mean? Why don't I blame the Jews? Because the Jews didn't do shit. Israel did. Dude, I've known too many Jewish people that are anti-Israel to believe that Israel speaks for all Jewish people. Thanks for the good sense of humor. Is it okay if I pray for you? Yeah, of course. I don't care. What's your opinion on the universe and stuff? Nah, too complicated. I don't know. It's all out there. You know what my opinion of the universe is? 100 years ago, the universe was the globe. Put that one in your pipe and smoke it. Only real ones will get that one. Who cares you're trans? I think mostly haters, honestly. Like most regular people are like, oh, trans woman. Okay, well, what does she think of hot dogs? You know? Like, I don't think to a lot of people it really matters that much. Nice glasses. Where'd you get them? The glasses store? Yeah. You got touched today? Gross. Don't tell us about it. Tell your therapist, man. What do you think about Graham Plattner? Oh, is that dude from Maine? I think I love him. I love him so much. In fact, I love him more because he accidentally got a Nazi tattoo. And I love him more because he was saying wild shit on Reddit. I actually like him more because of that. Yep. I think we need more unconventional Democrats because we need to get. Here's the thing. I've been saying this for over a year now. The Democratic Party has to get away from this stodgy academic image that people have of the Democratic Party. When people think of the DNC, what do they think of? What do you think of really when you think of the Democratic Party? And I know I got a lot of maggots that watch me. Okay, I get it. You guys, the MAGA people are going to say that that you think of demons or whatever. Okay, well, regular people out there. Okay, people that voted Trump, but you don't wear the hat. Okay, I'm asking you guys, what do you think of when you think of the Democratic Party? Because if I had to guess, I would say stodgy old liberals. Stodgy old white liberals. That's what I would guess you think about the Democratic Party. Am I right or am I wrong? Stodgy old white academic liberals? Is that it? Why are gay people always into politics? Because politics affect our lives deeply. No. Yup. Okay, I don't know which way to go for the comments on this one. I hate gays, but buy me a PC? No, I can't. Even if I could, I wouldn't because you hate gay people. Democrat Party is full of moderates trying to appeal to repubs. Yep. I think you should continue to, what were you saying? Continue to do what you do and never get elected. I would never want to be elected. Democrats are straight Republicans. Let's see here. Yeah, see, I'm not getting a good opinion from the fucking chat because the chat's barely paying attention. But what I was trying to say is that the Democratic Party is a party full of old white liberals who are primarily academic and they're learning in their circles of operation and everything. And as a result, I think a lot of people, when they think of the Democratic Party, they think old white liberals. They think a group of people who has never had their interests in heart, or at heart rather, and who have never experienced any of the things that they've experienced. And I think that has basically killed the Democratic Party in terms of its electability, because that is not what the Republican Party is anymore. Now, there was a time when that was what the Republican Party was. There was a time not so long ago, I would say 15, 20 years ago, when the Republican Party felt like such an old, stodgy party, and the Democratic Party kind of felt new and clean and nice because, Barack Obama, the country's first black president, was president with the Democrats, right? And he had gotten the Affordable Care Act passed, which back in 2008 or whenever it got passed felt like a really big move, or 2011 I think it was. Back in 2011, the ACA felt like a really fucking huge, tremendous move on healthcare, and so people were riding high, dude. The Democrats felt very much like the younger party. They felt like the more youthful organization, and the Republicans felt like the old heads and the old fuddy duddies. But now it's the other way around, dude. If you look at the Republican Party, dude, it's like people in their 40s, people in their 30s, people in their 20s, people in their 60s. It's all ages. It's all fucking gender markups. It's mostly white people, but I mean, America is mostly white people. So, on some level, that kind of makes sense. And, the Republicans, well, not necessarily the Republican Party itself, and not necessarily Donald Trump himself directly, but pretty much anybody who's adjacent to the Republicans and advocates for them makes some racist statements every now and again. So it's kind of understandable why the Republican Party would attract mostly white people and not that many black or brown people. Kind of understandable. The party's messaging is not exactly pro-black, if you get my drift. Um, but otherwise, I would say that it's a pretty widely appealing movement of people of all different ages and everything. And like, if you look at an organization like Turning Point USA, for example, massive conservative movement and completely focused on the youth. Completely focused on the idea of getting young people into conservatism. And the Democratic Party doesn't really have anything like that. The Democratic Party feels old and stodgy and outdated and outmoded, and the Republican Party largely doesn't. And that's despite the fact, by the way, that when you actually look at these two parties, their age demographics are not that different. Donald Trump is not that much old. I think he's actually younger a little bit than Joe Biden. Or maybe he's a little bit older. Like, they're the same fucking age, basically. They're right around the same age. Um, Mitch McConnell is an old, so like walking corpse, basically. And he remains a Republican standby. I mean, now he's not seeking re-election, but dude, he's so old he can barely walk. It makes sense that he's not seeking re-election. Just like the Democrats have Nancy Pelosi, who for some reason remains not only living, but still a policymaker, despite the fact that she's very clearly losing her touch and her grip with reality as time goes by. Trump's health is in steady decline. Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like to me, certainly. By the way, if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered, consider sending a super chat. I do read every single one, as long as it doesn't violate TOS. And if you want to contribute to my party fund for when I go to the DFF meetup this weekend, consider hitting up my Cash App in my channel description. Can we talk about God if you really want to? It's about money, power, and insider trading. Oh yeah, like both parties are about that. And when I talk about Democratic policy and what I think the Dems should do, it's not from a standpoint of me thinking the Dems are necessarily more qualified or wanting the Dems to win elections any more than I want the Republicans to win. I mean, I guess ultimately I would rather the Democrats win elections than the Republicans. Ultimately, I think they do a better job of stewarding the country through 4 more years of status quo nothing, right? And the Republicans tend to actively make things worse. So I'll take the party that doesn't actively make things worse if I can. But I also recognize what a failing proposition politics like that is. So I'm never going to, like, you know what? I've decided something after that last debate. I'm just going to say it. I'm never going to advocate for the Democratic Party again. It felt gross. It felt gross. It felt like I was having to walk 2 positions at once. I didn't like it. Never again. Would Kamala Harris have been better than Donald Trump? Sure. So would that cat laying over there. Okay? Not a very high bar. And when my real position is, well, no, we shouldn't have voted for Kamala Harris. We should have voted for a strong third party or independent candidate, but that didn't emerge. Kind of hard for me to advocate for good faith and, for Kamala Harris. How do you feel about Charlie Kirk's assassination? I think Charlie Kirk was a backwards, bigoted moron who nevertheless did not deserve to be shot dead like a dog in the street. I'll repeat that for those of you in the back. I think Charlie Kirk was a backwards, bigoted moron who nevertheless did not deserve to die like a dog on the street. I think that political violence has been shown time and time again to have oftentimes the opposite of its intended effect. I think the greater the magnification is, the more likely it is to backfire on whatever party, group, or ideology committed the attack. But I also want us to keep in mind that it's not really, right, these ideologies or these groups in and of themselves that do these attacks. It's individuals. You have to get to a pretty severe level of organizational strength to be able to say, like, this organization killed somebody, Like, The Riot Act, for example, was, or the RICO, I think, RICO statutes were specifically laid out to prosecute mafia leaders for things that their group did. Because once you get to a certain level of organization and complete and why I guess just a certain level of organization, you are able to coordinate things on that level and to have a group act as a single unit, to have a group work so well that you can effectively give an order from here and have it make changes all the way over there. You shouldn't vape, it's bad for you. Holy shit. You know, I'm 27 years old and this is the first I'm hearing that vapes are not good for you. What? What do they do? Do they like make you grow hair on your feet or something? Oh my god. Gross. What happens, bro? You should get educated then. I'm fucking on you, moron. I'm 27 years old. You think I'm too retarded to read the fucking warning on a vape? Do you think I'm too stupid to read the warning on a vape, retard? You literally make me want to vape more when you do things like that. Don't vape, kids. It's a bad habit. But you make me want to vape more when you say shit like that. By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button, there's another chance to send the stream out to even more people, but increase the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people who engage in the chat. And we have 240 people watching right now. So if half of you guys hit that like button, that would be 120 likes instantly. So please do that if you haven't done so already. Vapes are bad? I know. Isn't that wild? I never knew, but somebody just in the chat came and said it. Holy shit. Glitch Dash with the 5 memberships. Thank you for those gifted memberships. That is dope. That is fucking dope. How do you feel about cause? I'm a materialist. That's what I found out. Now, I was talking to my debate partner a couple of days before the debate, and I found out I'm a materialist, apparently. You're very easy to rage bait. I think you guys are the easy ones to rage bait. All I have to do is sit here and smoke a vape, and you guys literally cannot stop talking about it. But I'm not mad, LOL. Do you think I'm mad? About to smoke weed right now. How are you? Well, you could say I'm all right. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. Have a great day, mate. You too. You should play the ukulele more. Dude, I haven't played the ukulele in forever because that was an ex's ukulele. I haven't dated that person in years and years, and so I do not have access to that instrument anymore, but I do need to get me a ukulele of my own. What is your stance on the Charlie Kirk situation? Well, I was actually talking about that a little bit ago. I would tell you to rewind, but we can go cover it again. Why not? So, I think Charlie Kirk was a backwards, bigoted moron. Excuse me. I think Charlie Kirk was a backwards, bigoted moron who nevertheless did not deserve to die shot dead like a dog on the street. You know, I think that was probably the worst possible way he could have died. And I think that regardless of who actually did it in terms of their ideological associations or anything like that, I think it was a bad look on the left. And so I think they're like, honestly, just the fact that it looks so bad against the left because it's an attack against the conservative, right? At a time when the left has been grousing hard against conservatives, it makes me wonder if it's not maybe some kind of conservative, inside job kind of thing where Charlie Kirk was killed off by Trump or somebody in, Trump's employ, basically, in order to give Trump casus belli to start going into all of these Democratic cities and trying to suppress opposition to his reforms and everything and opposition to his policies. Because if you look right now, there's a huge movement against Trump exploding out of all of America's cities. It's not just the No King's Day protests. The No King's Day protests touched every little small town in this fucking country, but there are constant protests in the America's major cities. There are pretty much constant protests at every ICE facility in a major city in America right now. People are pissed. People hate this shit. They're not into it. They see what's happening and they literally don't understand how this can be America. How this can be allowed, how people can be expected to deal with this. No King's protest has to be the dumbest thing ever. Well, that's what MAGA would love us to think about it. They would love us to think it was the dumbest thing ever. They would love us to ignore the literal millions of people who showed up for No King's Day. 7 million people. Why is this so political? Because people keep asking political questions. I love the fat flag behind you. Thank you. I love the fag behind you. I love the flag too. 7 mil, not a chance. Look it up. 7 mil, and that's just the numbers that were reported. That's just literally the numbers of people who said they were going to go. Literally, that is just numbers of people who said they were going to go and RSVP'd and shit like that. If you count the actual number of people who went, it's way higher. I would be shocked if it's not actually something like 10 million people that attended the No King's Day protests in some form or another, because there were lots of people. I met some of them at the No King's Day protests that I went to in my time. Well, it's not my tiny little fucking Mississippi town, but it's the nearest little Mississippi town to me, that little tiny town. They had a fucking No King's Day protest that lasted for 2 hours, and it was fucking awesome. All kinds of people there. Even when we got there, there was still like 17, 20 people hanging around. Some of them had signs. Some of them were just chilling. Some of them were just looking. There was a booth set up there by Democrats in Mississippi. So, even in Mississippi, the heart of the fucking Deep South, No King's Day protests in a town of 20,000 people. I'm all for No Kings. That's why I didn't vote for Kamala, who was anointed by the Democratic Party and not voted through the primary. I agree, Daniel. Dude, I've got the same fucking criticism of the Democratic Party that you do. Yeah, dude, do I think Kamala Harris would have been a better choice than Trump? Sure. Do I think that's a high bar? No. And do I think it was actually good long-term strategy if you're a Democrat or any kind of leftist to vote for Kamala Harris? No, because I think that every vote for Kamala Harris is just a little bit more proof in the Democratic Party's mind that they don't need to update their policies. And that brings me back to Graham Platter, which somebody asked me about earlier. What do I think about Graham Platter? I think he's a disaster, and he's exactly what the left needs. I think he's a disaster, and he's exactly what the Democratic Party needs. He's not a career politician. He is the new leftist Trump. You want to look at a dude who could actually talk the talk, walk the walk, and do the things that Trump is doing, but from a leftist direction? Act without congressional approval and get shit forced through that the base requires to stay? You think people shout out all kinds of ideas. Mehdi Hassan, can't do him because he's fucking not from here. Zoran Mamdani, can't do that, he's Ugandan. AOC, yeah, she's a woman and she's an immigrant. She's not she's not an immigrant, but you know what I mean. She's like the child of immigrants or something like that. She's a Hispanic lady. Well, she's not herself Hispanic. You know what I'm trying to say, right? Whatever. I'm a Mississippi I'm a white person from Mississippi. You just be lucky I'm a leftist, okay? I'm trying to understand, okay? No, I'm kidding. But I am very bad at describing people's racial lineage or whatever. I am really bad at describing that, and I think part of that does come from being raised in Mississippi. Anyway, she's not, I think, politically very viable for America because America is, on the whole, pretty sexist and racist. I wish it wasn't that way. We're always trying to fight to make it not that way anymore, but it is kind of that way right now. So AOC is probably not it. You want to really look at somebody, though, who could break those barriers and get some economic policy enacted that would be in favor of the American people? Look at Graham Platter. He is a guy that speaks with his fucking heart, doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks of it, doesn't feel the need to couch his speech or his ideology or anything else in stupid horse shit or euphemisms or anything else. He says it how he feels it. He's got that quality he shares with Trump. And that is a quality that the Democratic Party has to embrace. They keep thinking that the things that they need to embrace that Trump comes up with are fucking policies. That's retarded. His policies are not why people vote for him. when are Democrats going to get this idea? Is that it's largely not policy that drives a vote for Trump. If policy fucking listen, if policy was actually driving votes for Trump, then I don't think you would actually hear a lot of people citing, because a lot of people will cite things like economic policy and shit like that. But when you actually look at Trump's economic policies, they ain't no better than the fucking Democrats. So it's just people feeling on vibes like Trump's going to be better in that direction. The Democrats need to take advantage of that. They utterly need, but they're not going to do it. Dude, they need to adopt somebody like fucking Graham Plattner, rather than rushing in with a hand-picked candidate of their own to try and crush him, right? Which is what they're doing. The fucking Democratic Senate committee or whatever, I forget what it's called. But basically the Senate committee that helps to get Democrats elected to Senate rushed into the main primaries with a competitor against Graham Plattner, specifically hand-chosen by the party, and somebody who's already served in the government of Maine and everything, like a political insider from the Beltway that's just going to preserve the same fucking stupid-ass Democratic policy that they've been going with and losing with for the last 50 years. They're trying to squash his campaign out. Now, it's not working. People are saying through the bullshit, but this is proof, guys, that the Democratic Party ain't listening. They ain't listening yet. I wish that they would. But they ain't listening yet. So it is time for younger people that are involved in the Democratic Party to start overthrowing. You guys need to figure out some way to get involved in the high level of your party politics and start really making some tremendous changes there, because the fucking old guard of the party's leadership is not letting the American people get what they actually want. They're fucking just skipping primaries because, well, we don't think a primary would be in the best interests of defeating Trump. It's like, huh? So we're not even going to have a policy discussion this year, guys. We're not even talking about our vision for the country anymore. It's literally the best thing you can give me, the primary driver of your the primary motivator of your behavior as a party in 2024 is just, let's defeat Trump. That's the only thing that matters. That can't be the only thing that matters, because there are a tremendous amount of people in America who don't prioritize Trump losing because they don't give a shit if he wins or loses. Yeah, sure, like MAGA is a very small part of the population. Trump's still sitting at like a 37% approval rating. But he won, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure he won the popular vote. So, at some point he was sitting at like a 51% approval rating. Roughly, among politically involved people. If it's not okay to drive it on registered... What now? If it's not okay to drive a car on registered... Wait, huh? Dude, please learn how to fucking type. I'm not going to translate that into something I can read. I think what you're trying to ask is, like, why is it okay for an illegal to walk the street if we don't let people driving around with cars walk this? Dude, okay, you're trying to compare car licensure and regulation to a human being and a human life. Do you understand why these two things are not the same thing? A human being can't, there's no brakes on a human being, okay? So a human being literally, cannot be driven drunk and plow into a van full of toddlers. That just can't happen. Like an illegal immigrant, the worst they can do, even if you give them a gun, honestly, the worst that they can do is kill some people. With that, they can do some pretty fucked up shit, but they can't do anything special that a normal American can do. So, I don't get what the argument here is. The reason why you need the reason why you have to register your car and maintain licensure to drive a car is because a car is an incredibly dangerous weapon. No, it's not a weapon by its nature, right? But a car can be a very dangerous weapon. As seen by the many different attacks led by mostly right-wingers against a variety of left-wing protests. Cars can be, used as... They can be used as offensive implements quite easily, And even if someone doesn't intend to use a car as a weapon, it can become an object of destruction if somebody doesn't treat it with the right amount of consideration and respect. So we have to register those cars to make sure that we know what's on the road. We've got some way to keep track of that, more or less, so that we've got some way to keep, like, it's important to keep track of it for planning purposes and for taxation purposes and shit like that. And you have to maintain licensure to make sure that you are qualified and safe to operate that vehicle, so that you're not just wantonly killing people out on the road. Whereas it takes no special skill to walk in America, like compared to Mexico. If you can walk in Mexico, you can walk in America. If you can work in Mexico, you can work in America. If you can fucking learn shit in Mexico, you can learn shit in America. So why would we need some kind of special process for them to make sure that they're all right? I mean, you realize how fucked up, stupid ass, backwards ass Americans we got running around? What are you going to deport them to? Where are you going to deport them to? Are you just going to make them stateless people? Like, what's the plan here? We're going to exclude Mexican immigrants because they don't speak English perfectly? Dude, I'll take you to a trailer park right now. Show you a whole bunch of people been living here their whole lives, don't speak English very good. Still, I'll show you a whole fucking gaggle of people who can barely quack a sentence out. And their fucking skin's whiter than mine. This poor thing has no idea. I have plenty of idea, bitch. Don't tell me what I don't know. Fucker. Trump freed Palestine, you're welcome. Literally, that ceasefire has been broken like 18 times, but okay. Even if it hadn't been, he hasn't freed Palestine. He has started the process of beginning a peace process. Literally, he has started the process of beginning a process. You realize how deep in the inception we are when it's gotten to that point? We're talking about a sea change in this area's politics that has to begin with a ceasefire. And the ceasefire sets up the conditions for starting actual peace talks between the involved parties. Let's see, got a super chat. Aviator 66452. Thank you for the Canadian $6.99. I appreciate it. When will the LNR learn that it is a uniparty? They don't care about us normies, regardless of what you believe or what political affiliation you hold. When will we realize that? I don't know. Michael Jackson wondered the same thing, though. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. You know? All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. They don't really care about us. They don't really care about us. They act like they do. They play a big game like they do. But ultimately, the goals of both parties are entirely self-serving. Stop funding the lazy and jobless. No, keep funding the lazy and jobless. Keep funding the lazy and jobless. Send more super chats. I also have my Cash App in my description. And if you donate anything to my Cash App, I will be able to use that at Dingbats, the bar in Clifton, New Jersey, that I will be attending the Deep Fat Fried meetup at. Is that rain? It is. It is rain, yeah. Do you know someone named Andrew Bledsoe? No. I have like 400 houseplants in there. Oops, that went away. Can someone ban this dude that's just spamming? I do, like, the only way here's the thing. I don't read a message that's spammed. I read messages that are paid for, and I read messages that are interesting. If your shit is not interesting to me, then the only way you're going to get me to read it is by paying to have it read. Otherwise, I ain't reading that shit. I just ain't reading it. That's why I always tell people, if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered, consider sending a super chat, because I do read every single one, as long as it doesn't violate TOS. But I'm not going to read every single chat that's sent in the chat. What are you? I am... What is it I used to say? I am an enigma to the gods. and a nuisance to man. I am the wind in the trees as the sun sets. I am the water flowing in the brook, cascading down from the mountains in spring. I am the darkness in a corner that is just out of reach. I'm Phoebe. Nice to meet you. I'm a Democrat and I lean to the left, but mostly a centrist. I believe both parties have their strengths and weaknesses. However, we don't get some of those benefits, and that should change. Well, that's the problem, right? Is that we don't get any of the benefit from the massive collaboration of these parties, but they constantly engage in massive collaboration against our best interests. You gay. Okay. Serious question. What is the difference between being trans and simply being a gay person who may or may not also be a cross-dresser? Because a person can cross-dress without actually feeling like they are the other gender. A person can cross-dress for all kinds of reasons. A person can cross-dress because they think it's funny. A person can cross-dress because they think they look attractive in the opposite sex clothes. Even if they don't necessarily see themselves as that, a person can simply, genuinely enjoy the clothes of that are typically associated with, the gender opposite that which they were assigned at birth. So there are all sorts of reasons why someone might cross-dress outside of being trans. Being trans means that, like, to you, it's not cross-dressing, number one, because you are actually dressing according to the gender that you want to be perceived as all the time. Whereas someone who's cross-dressing wants it to be somewhat obvious on some level that they're playing a role, right? Whereas for a trans person, it's not a role. For us, the cross-dressing, is when we're not out as trans, and we spend a whole era of our lives before we come out as trans, essentially cross-dressing and playing a fake role that feels entirely alien to us. We're like bad actors that are asked to do a script way beyond our comprehension, way beyond our skill, because we're trying to play to weaknesses instead of playing to strengths. Then we come out as trans, things get better, we're able to dress how we want to, and life improves. Whereas someone who cross-dresses, they might be perfectly happy before they cross-dress and might get even more enjoyment out of doing that, and then they'll go back to dressing however they normally do. They're a human being, unlike some of the people in this comments. Oh yeah, dude. My chat has been called by the amazing atheist herself. They've called it the most reprehensible chat on YouTube. And if anyone would know, it would be Frey. If anybody would know, it would be them. They're a fucking drunken peasant, dude. A drunken peasant has told me that my chat is the most reprehensible chat on YouTube. That is wild. That is wild. Wild beyond my fucking wildest dreams. So, do you think Charlie Kirk deserved it? No. No. Do I think that he helped contribute to the environment that led to it? I think there's an argument to be made there. Do I think that means he deserved it? No. Fuck no. And I'm not going to be one of these crazy lefties that dances around that either. I'm willing to say that there's a separation of the arguments, right? Between, like, did Charlie Kirk contribute to a ratcheting up of political tensions and rhetoric and things like that? I think, yeah, obviously he did. Just look at the shit he was saying. But when it comes to, like, deserving violence, I don't think anybody deserves violence. I disagree with you on Kirk. See, I feel like I wonder if we disagree that much though, Bree, because I feel like I don't know that in substance we agree that much. Do you think he deserved it, Bree? Not that I care if you do, like I'm not some Charlie Kirk apologist. I hated him back then. I hate him now. I'm not going to stop hating him just because he died bad, nor do I think he would want me to. So I think it's just a moot point. But when it comes to, like, This might be an interesting topic of discussion is all. That's a crazy take. How is it a crazy take? Dude didn't deserve to die, but dude might have contributed to the environment that led to his death and has led to the deaths of several people, not just his. Yeah, I think a lot of people have contributed to that, though. You know, I mean, like, is there a sad? But the thing is, it's in my opinion, it is vastly different to say Charlie Kirk deserved to die versus it's kind of ironic that Charlie Kirk, a dude who has advocated for more and more guns, more and more flippancy with guns, who's advocated for stronger action against leftists, you know, bordering on kind of like, if not advocating for violence, then trying to justify it, kind of, you know. He was never out there directly calling for anybody to do anything to a specific person, but he was constantly engaging in life ruination when it came to professors who were perceived as too left-leaning in his mind. He constantly tried to engage with life ruination when it came to big leftists that got some kind of win on him or something like that. He made all kinds of excuses for the January 6 people who, reminder, brought a literal gallows to the Capitol and were hoping to hang people. They brought a literal gallows. I've heard the argument that it was an art piece. It wasn't an art piece. That gallows could have been installed and used to hang people. It was actually built so sturdy that they could have used it as a gallows or a gibbet, which they probably would have done. So there was an actual coup attempt that happened, and Charlie Kirk made excuses for it. Just saying, that kind of makes it a little ironic. And I think that there's a difference between those two takes. I don't think the dude deserved it, obviously not. But I do think it's kind of ironic, you know, that a dude that has kind of taken every opportunity he's had to cool things down, he's heated them on up. Every opportunity he's had to try and kind of show some kind of bipartisanism on something. Every opportunity he's had on that, he's rejected. You know, he's just another mouthpiece of this hardcore, incredibly partisan demagoguery that I think encourages this sort of violent rhetoric and violent action to take root. I didn't say your take was wild. You said somebody's take was wild. You said somebody's take was wild? And if it wasn't to me, then stop talking to other people in the chat. Okay, let me read Bree's chat. Oh shit, okay. So you guys were responding to Bree's chat. Okay. Well, that's because you were responding to somebody else in the chat, Greed. If you're going to respond to somebody else in the chat, put an @ in their name so I'm not getting confused. So yeah, Bree said that he did deserve it. Okay. Why though? Why though? Why though, Bree? Yeah, no, I saw you. I saw your response finally. No, I wasn't talking about you, Bree. I was talking about this person that I'm sorry, Bree. I should have qualified. When I said don't talk to other people in the chat, I wasn't talking to you, Bree. I was talking to Greed, I think their username is. Also, Bree, I'm gonna add you as a mod just so I can see your chats and shit. Obviously, you can probably tell I have a way less strict ban policy than Paul. All I really ask is that somebody doesn't spam and provides a baseline readable comment. If you read a comment and it just makes your brain reset and you're like, huh? You can delete it. And if it's just spam, you can delete it. Short of that, you know, we feed the trolls here. But this will help me see your chats. And you don't have to do shit if you don't want to. They think I'm a bot or AI. Oh my god. Bree is a bot. Dude. I bet Brie takes that as a compliment on some level. Dude, they think you're so based that you have to be artificial. You must be fake because you're too based. And now Brie's a mod. Well, Brie is a long time dude. You guys don't know Brie, okay? Brie is not some random in the chat. Brie is somebody that I have interacted with in a community that me and her are both a part of for like 6 years or some shit. Me and Brie are the like 2 token trans women in Paul's chat that always argue with him. Agree, Greg. Bizarro takes like this are the reason I want nothing to do with. Well, here's the thing. I don't think like whose take is wild. Is it mine? Because I'm on the left, and my take is not that wild. My take is like pretty nuanced, honestly. Now I want to hear what Bree has to say about her take though, because like I feel like I missed it somewhere. So I'm just gonna look at her chat activity. That'll help. Okay. Okay. So I don't think I'm actually allowed to say what I think in YouTube chat. Oh. Okay, well, couch it in the softest way possible. Okay, Kirk was a fascist. Full stop. Okay, yeah. Do you think the chat would treat you so poorly if you were super hot or something? Yeah, no. Dude, I'm sorry. I'm just reading through Bree's old chats because she's a constant font of good questions. No, the chat would be treating me massively differently if I was super hot. If I was like super well passing and super hot and voice trained and everything, oh my God. I literally would not be able to get rid of the chasers. But because I'm, not super conventionally attractive and I don't pass very well and I don't voice train, at least I don't think I like pass that well all the time. I think sometimes I definitely do. I think it depends on like how I'm looking that day. Um, but I think it's mainly that, like those three things. Like I think if I was like super hot, then I would probably get way less hate. It's interesting because that's true regardless of whether you're trans or cis though. Like if you're like just honestly, if you're an unattractive or weird looking person in general, you're gonna get a lot of fucking hate. And if you're a really hot person, you're gonna get a lot of love and a lot of objectification. And it's just kind of strange how I don't know. It'd be interesting to see exactly what people who don't really get a whole lot of comments on what they look like. Because those are the people that are truly average. Trump colluded with Netanyahu to ruin peace negotiations. Peace in Gaza is not happening. Yeah, I mean that's kind of my take on it. It doesn't seem like peace in Gaza is happening. New shirt looks nice. It's not exactly a new shirt. I've had this shirt a long time, and I've been wearing it off and on stream for a while, but it is a nice shirt. A fellow fat girl gave it to me years ago. And now that I'm starting to lose weight, it's actually kind of getting to be big on me, which is nice. If you got balls, you a man? You don't know if I got balls or not. There's demonic forces at play, bro. I'm dying. Me too. Demonic forces. Man. Bree, ain't life interesting to a Christian? You ever thought about that? I've been Christian before. It's like living insanity. I know. It's literally like choosing to be schizophrenic. But yeah, dude, the world is so fucking like that's the crazy thing though, is like once you adopt a kind of secularist viewpoint and everything, a few years into being a secularist, you've pretty much like rationalized away a lot of the not a lot of the wonder of the world, but you've rationalized away a lot of the mystery and intrigue in the world. That's a better way of putting it. Because I never rationalized away all the wonder in the world. I still find myself experiencing the feeling of wonder, looking at a beautiful sunset or a beautiful vista somewhere out when I'm traveling or something like that. I still find myself experiencing the feeling of wonder, but the feeling of intrigue, the notion that there are, well, as that person said, demonic forces at play or something like that. The idea of real magic, not the weird kind of like chaos magic that TJ has described, or the power of will, or the little unexplained magics of human consciousness and its relationship with the broader world, and things that we don't quite understand how we understand yet. I'm talking about literal, straight up God and the devil magic. There are people who actually believe that that shit is going on. To them, it is not a joke. It is not a fantasy bedtime story. It is real shit that is actually happening and needs to be accounted for and discussed. And that is just wild to me. Wild. It is wild to me that an adult human being could actually think there is such a thing as a demon. But there are. And to me, I think that's why being a fundamentalist Christian has to be one of the most fascinating fucking things that you can engage in, you know? Like like the world has to be so much more interesting if you actually believe that there are demons and crazy shit like that out there. The Bible is full of contradictions. If you're reading the Bible completely literally, you're probably reading it wrong. My 2 cents. Oh yeah, 100%. I'm glad you recognize that, whether you're a Christian or an atheist or whatever, because a lot of people, especially well, pretty much only Christians, but a lot of Christians will try to make the Bible make sense, like actual, literal, real life sense. And I just think that that's a losing proposition because, like you said, the Bible is full of contradictions. But not only that, the Bible is full of just completely inerrant conclusions, just completely things we know to be objectively false. So you have to look at them as a metaphor. You have to look at them as some kind of misinterpreted divine direction or something like that. Because if you just take them as the literal God's honest truth, you'll be running around thinking all kinds of wild bullshit that's not remotely true. Sorry, I get really into the zone when I'm rolling or packing a cone. Oh man. I gotta get out of the deep south, y'all. Different fabrics is Levitical law. It's not really an important part of Christianity, but can be useful. Well, for some reason, Levitical law has a big place of importance when it comes to the excuse me, when it comes to decrying homosexuality in the Christian church. Hypothetically, if Trump decided tomorrow to identify as a woman, would he be the first female president, or would the identity movement say no? Just a question. I'm not even gonna lie to you. If Trump came out as trans and there was not some reason to like completely disbelieve it, like it appeared like it was completely legitimate, and it didn't happen anywhere close to April Fool's Day, I would recognize Miss President. I would recognize Mrs. President as Mrs. President. I would have no problem with it. But yeah, there definitely would be a bunch of people who've been advocating for trans rights and everything who would be suddenly anti-trans when it comes to Trump's particular case. Yeah, there'd be a lot of hypocrites on the left for sure. There would be. Exactly, Bree. That's my thing. It depends on how serious he's taking it. Like if it was like a thing where he like, because I think if Trump actually came out as trans, I think you'd see Trump actually trying to be serious for the first time in what I guess would be her life at that point, which is kind of a funny thing to think about. Trump as a trans woman. It's an interesting idea, dude. Here would be the real fucking kicker. Dude, okay, here's the real kicker. You kicked me a hypothetical. Now let me kick you one back, all right? Let's say Trump does that. He comes out as trans, but the next day after that, he also comes out as a socialist. So, like, would the right still worship him at that point, or would that be too much? Would that be too far? Like, say he changed nothing about his rhetoric, because he could become a socialist without changing much about his rhetoric. He would just have to change his rhetoric when it comes to big business and shit like that. But he's always been, bullshit critical of big business when he has to be. As a materialist, how can you ignore chromosomes and anatomy? Chromosomes and anatomy have nothing to do with gender identity, or at least have very little to do with it, I should say. It's not that they have nothing to do with it, but they have way less to do with it than psychology does. Psychology is the primary driver of gender identity, and gender identity is it's a set of presentations, behaviors, expectations, etc. I would also point out that when it comes to anatomy, the science is on our side there too. There was a study done, I don't remember who did it, but there was a study done that showed that in the vast majority of cases, trans people have brains whose structure and form more resemble those of the gender that they identify with, or the gender that correlates with the sex, that they identify with. So, like, if you scan a trans woman, 99 times out of 100, she's going to have um, like a female brain, basically. And if you scan a trans man, 99 times out of 100, it's going to be fucking a man's brain inside there. So, just an interesting little tidbit worth looking up. Look up trans brain scan study, and you can learn more about it. What do you think of Proposition 50? I haven't read about it. Somebody will have to fill me in. That study is kind of BS. Oh, well, do tell me about it. I mean, I assume, like, dude, if it's another trans person telling me it's BS, I'm willing to hear the argumentation. I'm willing to hear the argumentation. Maybe if Trump was trans and came out, it would break the spell. I think it would, honestly, yeah. I think it would. Does it snow in Mississippi? Increasingly, yes. Yeah. This year we had a pretty crazy snowstorm. It didn't put us out of commission for that long, but it put us out of commission for a good 4 days, I'd say. The year before that, in 2024, we had the wildest snowstorm we've ever had in our fucking entire lives, as Mississippians. Like, there is no one living in Mississippi that remembers a storm worse than the one we got, at least in our region. It was wild, 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 absolutely wild. I don't even remember how many inches of snow fell, but it was so many that the whole state basically was closed down for like a week. There was almost nothing open, very nearly almost nothing. Then slowly stuff started to come back, but it was a full 2 weeks before I was asked to come back to work. A full 2 weeks. I'm convinced that trans people are a form of intersex expressed through gender incongruence starting at puberty. That actually would like totally make sense. But honestly, Brie, it's like probably more. Wouldn't it be more likely that it would be a convergence of different, or not a convergence necessarily, but wouldn't it be more likely for it to be a variety of different intersex conditions that can lead to that particular outcome? I don't know, because I've wondered about this myself plenty of times. Because there are intersex people who end up coming out as trans, basically as part of their gender journey. And if you think about it, like a lot of those people, many of them are bound to have had surgeries to correct their sex into something it shouldn't have been corrected into, basically. So there's got to be some kind of intersection between intersex people and trans people. That, to me, just makes logical sense. But how deep does that cross section go? It's an interesting topic. It's an interesting idea. Snow shouldn't shut your state down. I'm praying for you. Well, it does. Literally, it does. I'm not kidding. That's not exaggeration. You can go look it up. Look up the crazy snowstorm in 2024. It was like February, I think. It was January or February of 2024. Crazy ass snowstorm. Knocked out power for certain people. Knocked out the roads just massively. For, like I said, it was probably like the first 3 days, I didn't hear anybody go down the highway. It was literally 3 straight days of not hearing or seeing anything in terms of movement. Why do so few discuss the 60 to 90% desistance rate? What do you mean desistance rate? Craig on Jen. Hormone washes during pregnancy map out your brain, and women increasingly take progestins during pregnancy. Interesting. That's interesting. That's actually really interesting. So what effect is that predicted to have then, Bree? I live in New York City. The snow has been decreasing each year. Love your name. My 4-year-old is Olivia Phoebe. That's so cute. I love that. But yeah, what's happening? Catastrophic spider blunt. I love that. I'm just gonna call you Blunt. But what's happening, Blunt, is basically the snow you guys would be getting is literally coming down south. So, like, have you heard of these like polar vortexes and shit? Well, normally most of the weather that the northern hemisphere gets, like the closer you get to the Arctic, the more likely the polar vortex is to affect your weather in some way or another. Well, now that pattern's changing a little bit. And now patterns of weather that normally start in the Arctic and kind of cascade down, well, now those, big fucking crazy polar vortexes are moving now almost every year. They'll move down out of the poles where they're supposed to be, down over the northern hemisphere. Polar vortex was what happened in 2024. Polar vortex was what happened in 2021 to shut down Texas's fucking power grid. Oh, give us back our snow. Trust me, I would if I could. Because my state doesn't need it. My kids have not had a snow year the way I had in the early 2000s. Yeah, I'm not shocked. Like I said, a lot of the weather patterns that would normally be affecting the Northeast are now affecting the South because climate change is basically reshifting the way weather occurs. So places that are normally supposed to have pretty harsh winters are getting more mild winters. Places that are normally supposed to have more mild winters are getting harsher winters. Places that are supposed to have hotter summers are getting, weirder summers. Places that are supposed to have cooler summers are getting hotter summers. Shit's looking pretty wild, y'all. Climate change wise. 60 to 90% desist. Wait, hold on. What is that from? 60 to 90%? How the fuck could we possibly, like, okay, I cited a study apparently earlier that was not very reliable, but just on the face of it, I want to reject that data because that sounds ridiculous. How can you have two studies of the same thing that find such a wildly different rate and accept that those set the normal parameters? Well, it's proven that synthetic progestins cause people to be born intersex at a much higher rate. Okay, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, Bree, can you put me up on game as to what he's even referencing? Because I've never heard that statistic before, and it sounds wildly inaccurate just from my own experience. I hope Kentucky gets a lot of snow this year. If you guys want it, take all the snow you can get, because we don't want it down here in the deep south, okay? You guys want it in the upper south? Cool. He's quoting a study of children who showed gender incongruence in youth, not trans kids, just kids who played with dolls as boys. That is fucking absurd, dude. Oh my god. So literally he's taking a study that's saying between 60 and 90% of kids who at some point play around with gender identity end up expressing the gender identity that they were born with. That makes sense given that trans people are only a percent of the population. That doesn't, we're not talking about trans kids here. We're talking about kids who've played around with the idea. Ay, ay, ay. Literally, how many times have trans people made the fucking point that a lot of kids play around with gender identity as a kid, and that kids naturally will if you let them? It's one of the biggest misinfo studies out there. Well, thank you for letting me know. I will now know when I see that what to think of it, because that's fucking stupid. Nobody's trying to get kids to be fucking trans anyway. Literally nobody is out there trying to convert kids into transness. It's just not a fucking thing. Yes, are there some fucking children's books that introduce kids to the idea of being trans? Sure. Does that mean that any of us are out there trying to fucking get your kids into being trans? No. So can you stop? I wish people gotta get over this stupid, retarded, baseline fucking idiotic talking point. I'm sick to death of it. I'm sick to death of it. And any kind of misinformation that they can come across gets looped in to the fucking explanation, to the justification for their stupid fuck narrative that basically just exists to continue the oppression of gender non-conforming people. Fuck you bitches. I transitioned as a teen. No one convinced me to do it, and I didn't even know any trans people when I transitioned. Yeah, like I transitioned when I was 21. I didn't know any other trans people. Like, I guess I knew some online. I guess that's not completely true. But fuck, dude, I'd known them for like 2 months, and I'd been thinking about coming out as trans for 2 years. When in reality, they don't think that way, and they're just playing with a doll. Well, yeah, that's the thing, dude. What's ridiculous is the people like you think that because a kid plays with a doll, then he's automatically looking into gender identity. Nobody fucking said that, madman. But when a kid is playing with the toys that are associated with the gender opposite their own, right? The one assigned to them at birth, they are playing around with the idea of gender identity. They don't know it. They're not thinking about it in that complex a term, and I don't think adults need to make it any more complex than that. I think kids will figure their own shit out. And if at some point, if they're like 8 or 9 or 10 and still, like mostly showing that they are more comfortable expressing themselves as like a person of the opposite gender that they were assigned at birth, what is the problem with allowing them to get on puberty blockers until such time as they are able to make the final decision as to whether they want to start HRT? Like, what is the problem with this other than you personally are made uncomfortable with it? Because when the Dutch, for example, have studied this issue extensively, and the studies that they've done prove that, number one, it's good to let kids mess around with it, whatever. If if a little boy wants to wear a dress, let him. But the vast majority of the time, he's going to decide to take it off eventually and go on being a boy for the rest of his life, and he's not going to care. But every so often, you'll empower a trans kid to experiment with their gender in a way that's meaningful for them. Like I said, the vast majority of the time, you're just letting a little kid play around with a toy. And that's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be more until the kid starts asking for it to be more, until the kid starts expressing that it is more. Can we retire Slay this year? I wish, honestly, but some people still use it, and it's fine. I can retire you, fucking Matt. I love you, Matt. Thoughts on Prop 50? Can somebody tell me about Prop 50 and I'll tell you what my thoughts on it are? Maybe did I tell you I accidentally did an interview with a TERF for a magazine? What? No. Dude, them bitches. I hate that. Well, how'd it go? How do you counter a parent's influence, though? What if the parent really wants it, but the kid isn't so certain? I feel like this is a point that's made against the idea of like transparency and things like that a lot of the time, but I don't feel like it actually bears any weight or any fruit. Show me any big collection of case studies. Show me any kind of case review. A peer reviewed case review would be totally acceptable, right? But an anecdote isn't really going to work because I feel like people always have some kind of weird story they're willing to quote or reference as to some kid being forced to transition, but they're never able to point me towards a peer reviewed case review. They're never able to point me towards a peer reviewed study. It's just not within their capacity because for some reason, despite all the little goofy anecdotes about it, there really aren't any big cases that have been like followed for long enough to make enough cases for there to be a case review. This is a highly studied topic. Trust me, if there could be a case review done on it, there would be by now. A case review on kids who detransitioned after getting out of their parents' house or whatever because they were made to transition during their childhood. There wouldn't just be a couple of anecdotes and a couple of people you could point at. It would be something you could actually study. So because like if we're talking about like some kind of epidemic level thing, then maybe there's a conversation there. Maybe there needs to, maybe there's something to talk about, but it's not. And as long as it remains just something fucked up people do occasionally to their kids, well, I'm sorry, but straight people do all kinds of fucked up shit to their kids. And we don't consider not letting straight people have kids. And straight people kill their kids, rape their kids, beat their kids. I'm not saying all of you do, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, okay? Like, it's not like a straight person isn't capable of destroying their child's life. And in ways that are just as harmful as any trans person could. It depends on the state. I did 6 months of counseling and I have to talk to psychologists to get any kind of surgery, and this is in Oregon. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's counseling you have to do before you get HRT. Like, for example, in Missouri, I had to, um, well, no, I wasn't I was able to, because I was over 21, I was able to get it with just like 2 consultations, I think. Um, they were pretty long consultations. They were really long conversations, but it was just like 2 consultations, and I was able to get HRT. But I like, they had told me when getting ready for it that it could take as long as 3 months. So I think it just depends. I think for me, they saw like clearly, you know, because I was even like showing on my social media profile and everything, and like I guess I must have convinced them or something, because like I said, 2 consultations later and I was started on HRT. Now I wasn't able to like finish it, obviously not finish it, but I wasn't able to continue it, but I was able to get it. And I think that it was probably so easy because I was over 21 at the time. Obviously I'm still over 21. I haven't aged in reverse. Let's get back to oil though. What going on now? Unironically, conservative states have worse gatekeeping systems. Oh yeah. Have I tried progesterone? I think that's one of the ones that I was on. I believe I was on progesterone and what's that one? It's not a feminizing hormone itself. It's like an androgen inhibitor or something like that. Um what is it called? Damn it. Spironolactone. Yeah, spironolactone. I was on spironolactone and progesterone, I think. And maybe one more, I think. I can't remember. I remember those two. No, I'm not on it anymore because I don't have health insurance. It's annoying and makes me irritated. And now it just feels pointless to even like go to healthcare.gov or whatever and look, because I just feel like with these ACA subsidies going away most likely, and the cuts that the Trump administration has made to healthcare in America already, I just feel like it's probably going to be like, you are going to owe $400 a month for your health insurance. And I'm just like, yay, my entire YouTube paycheck goes to my health insurance. Yay. Yay. You know what I mean? Just buy it online, sweetie. It's safe and affordable. What? What do you mean buy it online? Dude, this is going to be a .onion site, isn't it? Get cheap hormones.onion. Almost free HRT.onion. Okay, Bree, hit me up on Discord. Send me a friend request on Discord. It's in my description. It should be. It's at Phoebe Ophi. How exactly it's set up on there, I don't remember. It might be. I think it's just PhoebeOphie. I don't think there's any other letters or punctuation in it. If that doesn't work, then try an underscore between the E and the O. And if that doesn't work, try a dot maybe. And if that doesn't work, I don't know. Pray to the Lord. Or tell me a Discord where I can find you at. Like, are you on the TJ Discord? Both sides could utilize tax dollars in a better manner. Oh, fuck yeah. Dude, both sides should, number one, stop spending so goddamn much on the military. Nationalize these fucking military contractors. And I'm not even saying necessarily nationalize the entire damn companies that they belong to. But take the fucking wings of them and turn them into a fucking government institution. There's no reason that these people should be able to fucking just endlessly spend U.S. taxpayer dollars in cost overruns. It's fucking absurd. It's been a problem. Eisenhower literally warned us that it was gonna be a problem back in the fucking 50s. And we were like, yeah, all right, old man. But, hey, Raytheon, you want a fat contract? You know, like, oh, God. But that shit has to be dealt with. Okay, because we didn't used to spend like this, and we made better military technology. Do you get that? We made one of the tanks that won World War II. We made the M4 Sherman. Ever heard of it? One of the best fucking designed tanks that's ever fucking prowled across the fucking German fields. You know, I don't know. I was gonna say the prairie, but I don't know if they actually have prairie. How did you get banned from TJ's Discord? How? How? How on earth? What? Holy shit! What to what? Okay, what? Huh? But yeah, just hit me up on Discord if you can. It should be in my description. Shelley, I have been to the White Trolley before, yes. Um, that town actually invented, basically, the item served there, which you guys are going to get a kick out of the name of it, okay? You guys ready? It's called a slug burger. Slug burger. It doesn't contain any slugs. It doesn't contain any slugs, okay? Okay. The reason it's called a slug burger, apparently, is because in the olden golden days, when they first started being sold, you could get them for a nickel, which was apparently called a slug back then, for whatever reason. To me, it really does evoke images of slugs being slightly dried and roasted before being ground up into some kind of moist patty, formed into those ground up into some kind of warm, wet paste, and then mushed into a patty and deep fried. But that's not what a slug burger is. Despite its rather disgusting name, it is in fact a pork patty. Mostly, it's pork and soy flour. Usually, soy flour was the first additive. It was basically a way to sell. It was basically a way to sell very cheap sandwiches that still, nevertheless, had a lot of nutritional value and tasted pretty good without using that much meat. And, they were not presented as hamburgers, they were presented as a new item, and so, like, I don't know, they took off because it was like a poverty food brought to the masses in a way, which is what a lot of restaurants and things like that and food carts and stuff like that survived on in the Great Depression, is because, there were some times when a restaurant or a food cart or something like that, due to the way that they worked, they could provide a lunch or a dinner cheaper than you would be able to buy it by getting the groceries and making it yourself. Depending on the region you were in, sometimes it just made more sense to buy your food off of a cart. And obviously, after the Great Depression wore off and things started to get bigger and everything, the slug burger just kind of took off and shit. And now it's all over northern Mississippi, pretty much. Pretty much every little cafe in northern Mississippi has a slug burger now. But as far as I know, they originated with the White Trolley, I think. Not the White Trolley. No, I think there's a different place that claims that it invented it. Is what is it? I don't remember. Well, I don't remember the name of it. But there's like 2 or 3 businesses in Corinth that claim to be the first slug burger. White Trolley is one of them. Wait, Pump Monk died? You didn't know? Damn, I feel like a dick. I just read that and fucking had a, moment. Yeah. Dude, me and Pimp could have talked about the slug burger because he's from my area and I didn't even know. Dude is from New Albany. Why shouldn't we have borders or legal process for immigration? I've never said that we shouldn't have borders. Well, I might have said that we shouldn't have borders. We shouldn't have borders, but not immediately. I think we could get to a borderless planet at some point, but I don't know that we're ready to flip the switch on that right now, okay? What I would advocate for is, yes, the legal immigration process, but let's expand that shit. Do you realize there's like a limit of 10,000 green cards given out every year? Something like that? It's fucking stupid. We should be allowing as many fucking people as qualify for a green card to have a green card. And then we should start allowing more people to apply for the next step of whatever their step in the citizenship process is. Bring a whole bunch more people into that process. Streamline the immigration process. Increase the fucking quota numbers and shit. Because it's not like there's an endless fucking supply of people from these places. It's not like there's an endless supply of them. And even if there was, there's an endless supply of jobs Americans just cannot be convinced to do because the wages are not high enough. So I'm not saying, by the way, that we should do nothing for them as workers once they get here. I do think we need to improve the conditions of those jobs. Don't get me wrong. But Uh, um, like those are it's a market position that has to be filled and is not easily going to be filled by AI or robotics in the next 20 years. And so, in my mind, that presents a pretty stellar economic opportunity. Let's get a bunch of new workers in here, working jobs that they are willing to do, and then we can help them get. Well, number one, we're making the immigration process easier, so it'll be harder for their employers to fuck them over because they will be able to call the authorities for a redress of grievances because they'll be, you know, either permanent residents or legal citizens or whatever the case may be. So I think that pretty much undercuts immediately the idea that these people are going to be exploited, but they will still work jobs that a lot of Americans just don't want to do, man. There are a lot of Americans who do not want to work in the trades, and there are a lot of Mexicans who are totally skilled in the trades, willing to work in the trades, would love to come and work in the trades here in America and make way more money. That thinking is considered very racist. Uh, what? What thinking? Look at your walls. Why do you want to import cheap labor when you can't even afford to finish your basement? It's not a basement. It's an office trailer. And I don't finish it because I don't exactly know what to do with it, to be honest with you. Um, like, dude, fucking, I live on a family farm, and everything that happens on this fucking homestead happens by committee, and this is one of them. So I know it's going to eventually be a shared office space, but I don't know exactly how it needs to be finished. I don't even know how to do my own drywall work, dude. So, like, why do I want to import cheap labor? Because I'm too literally. I think your question answers itself, Craig on Jen. Why do you want to import cheap labor when you can't even afford to finish your basement? Um, because I can't afford to finish my basement, bro. Like, if there was more cheap labor, then I could probably afford to finish it, right? You know, just hire a couple of Mexicans to finish it for me. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Craig on Jen, why does your name sound familiar? You really need to get you the fuck up out of the South. I know. Trust me, I know. I know, dude. I don't want to. God, I know. I don't know what to do, though. I don't know what to fucking do. I mean, I know what to do logically, but I don't know what to do, dude, because like, dude, Bree, we'll talk about it in DMs. I don't want to talk about it here because I haven't talked about it on stream, and I'm not going to start tonight for no reason. We'll talk about it in DMs, but there are reasons why that's complicated. But it is on the agenda, and it's on my family's mind too. It's just getting them to really make that decision, I guess you would say. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not trying to make excuses, Bree. I'm saying we'll talk about it, and I think you'll understand more where I'm coming from. But I do need to get the fuck up out of the South. I will not. I can't equivocate about that. That it needs to happen, unequivocally, yes. I don't disagree with the fact that immigrants are hard workers on the whole, but the checks should still remain. Okay, have checks and everything, but why, dude? Like, not why have checks, but why do we need to have so many steps to the immigration process? Why do we need to have so low limits? Like I said, there's some kind of 10,000 limit. I can't remember if it's on green cards or um like permanent visa. Wait, which one is it? Is a green card your permanent resident card? Those are the same thing, right? there's some kind of immigration document that basically bottlenecks legal immigration, and it's one of the reasons why those wait lists take forever and why people have to continuously re-up their visas and shit, and why they're continuously subject to um, like ICE showing up and deporting them because they're just on a visa, not fucking permanent resident or whatever. um, I think the document limit applies to green cards. I think it's that they'll only issue 10,000 a year, and so that they're like, you know, tens of thousands, probably millions of immigrants in this country who are waiting for one, but it's going to take them literally years to get one. Yeah, it takes like 5 years. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, because there are literally 50,000 people in line before you are. What's up, GPS? I don't have the baby at home tonight, so I don't have a heart out. You guys are lucky. I tell you what, did you watch UFC today? I'm never gonna watch UFC. You can stop asking about it. I know you think this is hilarious because you're fucking like 17 and you are infected by brain rot, but it is not funny. I mean, it's funny on some level, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm I'm an old woman. Can you spare me from your Gen Z shit? Can please just please, please. Well, treating people as a commodity and forcing them to work for low wages is a form of salary. Slavery, I think you mean. A form of salary. I don't want them to come work for low wages. Number one, a lot of the jobs that Mexican people come over here and do are not low wage jobs. I mean, they're kind of low wage if you compare them to how much a person can make overall in America. When you consider the fact that you can be a billionaire in America, or you can make $21 an hour working construction or some shit, Um, like there are a lot of jobs in the trades that, like I said, Mexican people who come over, not just Mexican, but people from Central America and South America in general, um, there are all kinds of jobs that they come over here and do that are in the trades, and that's just an area, a field that, like, it's got endless demand because it's the one fucking area of industry that's not being completely automated yet. There are aspects of automation coming to it, but as of right now, there is no kind of robot that can install a full air conditioning system in your home or business. That requires human hands. As of right now, that requires human hands, and there's no feasible project on the market that I can see that's looking to change that. Now, I will tell you, if ever Boston Dynamics wises up to the fact that their dog, their little walking robot, their quadruped walking robot, could have industrial applications, which they probably already wised up to that fact, all they need to do is beef that thing up, make it about 150% bigger, I would say. So basically, double and a half its size. Um, Beef that fucking thing up and make it, like I said, just beef it up, make it stronger, able to hold, like 1,000 pounds in the air reliably. And I mean, at that point, all you have to do to make that thing into an effective part of a mostly automated HVAC job is just giving it some arms that it can manipulate shit with at that point. Manipulate shit with or bring itself up into a ceiling with. I'm telling you, automation is coming for every job in this country, but it's going to take a long time to get to the fucking trades because that's the level of fucking technology that we're talking about. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a real fucking challenge for them to get this put together and tested, implemented, experimented with, and approved for use by the codes people and all that shit. It's going to take a long time. Like I said, 20, 30, 40 years maybe, but it's coming. But as of right now, those 20, 30, 40 years are still every bit as necessary now as they ever were. Or not, that sounded utterly retarded. They're going to happen regardless, and that work is going to be just as necessary then as it is now. I think that's what I was trying to say. The work that they are doing right now is going to be necessary for a long time. We're going to have to continue to have people willing to fill those jobs. If Americans aren't going to start stepping up and filling those jobs, somebody's got to do them. Somebody's got to be out there doing construction, doing plumbing, doing HVAC work, getting union apprenticeships and shit. And why not someone seeking legal citizenship here in America? Why not? Why not someone who loves America so much that they decided to become an American? Why not? I'm not saying they should exclude Americans from any of those programs. Hell yeah. Give people who are already citizens first dibs. I'm fine with that. But don't exclude somebody just because they're on the path to citizenship, you know? We will almost need advanced androids with that being said. Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. We don't need advanced androids. We need, if we're going to, if you're talking about automating all of these different jobs and industries, which I think is going to happen, I'm not saying it should happen. I'm not saying that it's right that it's going to happen or anything like that. I'm saying that it is inevitable that it will happen. If we don't run out of oil in the next 10 years, then we'll have robots like this in the next 20. We will probably within the next 10 years see a um, a real life trial of some kind of industrial level application of that robot dog, something that can support a walking apparatus probably at first, and then it'll be something that has its own arm that it can manipulate stuff with, and eventually they'll give it a set of really powerful arms, and they'll match it with pairs and shit so that it can do team lifts. And the more the more they R&D this shit, the more capacity and capability they'll be able to give it. They'll be able to make it able to climb up onto the back of a couple more giant industrial robot dogs and extend its legs all the way up just to get into a high spot where the arms can manipulate some distant light bulb up in the ceiling of a warehouse or a factory. Shit's getting wild. I can't tell you I cannot tell you or stress to you guys how much shit is getting wild. What's up, Book Blaze? Every construction site I've seen has more Hispanic people working than whites or even black people. Oh, yeah. Well, that's because Hispanic people really gravitate to the trades in this country. A lot of people, like Mexico, has a shit ton of people in it, and it's often looked at as a developing country, but it's just as fucking modern as America is. Yeah, there's some fucking more backward shit in the rural areas, but there's the fucking plenty of backward shit in the rural areas of America, too. Plenty of fucking backwoods ass, hillbilly bullshit going on in the back roads of America, just like there is in the back road rural areas of Mexico. So I don't see much of a distinction there. When it comes to their cities, they're every bit as modern as fucking America is. They've got internet service. They've got fucking taxis and Uber and shit. I can imagine a world where every person is a robot builder, programmer, designer. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what eventually will be. Logical forwarder. Within our lifetimes, the vast majority of people who are employed, like officially employed by some other company, some big company, are going to be employed in the manufacturing, the manufacturing, distribution, or maintenance of these robots. They're going to be, or something like that. Like it's all going to be maintaining robots, helping to make robots, helping to monitor robots working. That's going to be a big thing for a long time. It is going to take human beings probably 100, and this is all assuming that we figure out a way to get ourselves over our addiction to oil and switch over to some renewable energy source or something like that that's sustainable on the long term. But assuming we do that, then I think in 100 years, it'll probably be 100 or 150 years before humanity finally gains trust, I would say, in AI and in robotics enough to allow robots to work on their own. And so for a long time, it'll not just be robot technicians, it'll be robot overseers, you know? It'll be people, not the overseers won't be robots, but they'll be overseeing robots. Human beings whose job it is to just basically watch a robotic dump truck, sit in the cabin, um, you know, eat Doritos, watch videos, and kind of make sure that the thing is doing what it's supposed to do. If it starts doing something that doesn't make any sense, you hit the takeover button and you start, you know, you start doing the right thing. That's going to be a lot of people's jobs here, probably within the next 10 or 20 years. Robots are still extremely expensive, and with the way capitalism is obsessed with planned obsolescence, I think we might not have enough resources. See, capitalism is obsessed with planned obsolescence, but one thing you got to understand, though, Bree, is have you ever worked in a factory, Bree? I'm just curious, or like an industrial environment, something like that. I really don't see us passing this year, the year 2100, before our global population is absolutely tanked and collective society just also regresses. I don't know. I think it could go either way. No, I'm a slut for tips. Oh, nice. I love that. That's awesome. That's really cool. Cool. No, I love that. We're sex worker positive here. In a way, I'm a slut for tips. I just, I'm not whoring out my body. I'm whoring out my mind, if you think about it. No, I don't know. I'm kidding. But no, so here's the thing. Planned obsolescence mostly exists for consumer goods. This shit's gonna piss you off so much the more I explain it, Bree. I just know it's gonna. Joke, not real. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm just saying I see solidarity. That's all. And that I hope that you get lots of tips because you deserve it. Yeah. No, anyway, so this is going to piss you off the more I explain it, but planned obsolescence is mostly a consumer goods thing. It doesn't really exist for factories and industrial settings. You would think it did. You would think it did, right? Because the same incentives, but no, right? Billionaires care about each other a lot more than they care about the working class, and consumers are a lot easier to fuck over and trick into buying into shit. But businesses exist to fuck one another over. There's an old George Carlin routine about how the goal of every businessman when he goes into a meeting with another businessman is to fuck the other guy as hard as possible before the other guy fucks him. Right? It's all a game of fucking each other over, no matter how chummy the companies seem in private. And so there is like a strong incentive because you're trying to fuck each other over in subtle ways, right? Because there's so many considerations and everything. There is a strong incentive for these companies to not build a shitty product when it comes to these big, like when it comes to like, okay, if you're talking a company like Komatsu or something that builds these big heavy machines, these big earth moving machines and shit, that company has an incentive to deliver high quality products to its customers because its customers are big business interests who deal in the order of millions of dollars. And that business interest, whatever it is just looking for an excuse to get a free Komatsu. And so Komatsu has an incentive to literally do everything to the gnat's ass correct, because if they don't, then they're going to deal with this big loss, and they'll just be out that money because they'll have to discount those machines or whatever, right? So um, when it comes to factories and industrial settings, companies are a lot more likely to I believe at least that companies are a lot more likely to produce like a high quality product than they are something for the consumer market, because consumers are kind of easy to trick. Businesses less so, because they're just looking, they're constantly out to fuck over other people, and because of that they're on the lookout for anybody fucking them over. And so if a company builds, like if you're talking about some, use that same equipment manufacturer, Komatsu, say it's got a factory somewhere that needs, uh, what are they called? Uh, Heinrich, I think. There's this company, this German company, I think, that makes these big fucking lift machines and everything else. Um, that company is just fucking waiting for one of those machines to not be up to snuff or to have a part break within warranty or something like that, so that they can get the part reimbursed, and costs for parts and labor and all this other shit. And in reality, they're spending a tenth of that cost on repairing it, and just eating all that profit, right? And so that company has a pretty strong incentive to deliver a quality product to its corporate buyer, because that corporate buyer has the money to take them to court if they need to challenge them legally and whatever they need to if it should go to that, and has the power to just cut them out of big contract deals and shit like that. So when it comes to the upper class and their factories and their robots and their industrial shit, planned obsolescence isn't really a thing. It doesn't make any sense for it to be. And that would be a massive cost overrun. Think about it. Factories can't be going down all the time. That's fucking just bad for business. You got to build high quality goods for the factories and the industries and the warehouses, and you have to build shit shitty for the consumer, because the shitty ass dumbass consumer is just going to keep on buying shit. They got to have an incentive to keep on buying shit. We got to have an incentive to keep on selling shit. So make sure that their phones fail on time. They're so addicted. These individual people can be co-opted and manipulated so fucking easily. But businesses have entire teams of people meant to resist that kind of thing. And it's created an entire environment where the bourgeoisie mutually collaborates to our collective destruction. Collaborates towards and contributes towards our mutual destruction and collective destruction. Yeah, I never thought about it like that. It's fucking wild when you realize, like, planned obsolescence exists for you and me. But go into a factory and you're not going to see a whole bunch of planned obsolescence. No, the things in that factory are meant to run for 10 fucking years. And fucking, really, they're meant to last for 50, fucking 60, 70 years in some cases. Now, some of them have like a maximum safe life, but a lot of that is based on some critical part or something like that. And if you have that stress test or whatever, stress tested, then you can get it recertified for another 10 years worth of service life. So there are some of those products that are literally able to go for decades upon decades upon decades. And it's just it's something that people are always commenting about: old equipment, whether it's industrial equipment or shit that you would use around the house, being more sturdy and more durable and everything. That never changed when it came to corporate equipment. That never changed when it came to stuff for the corporate world. The corporate world, the business owner world, the world of the bourgeoisie and the merchant class, that kept its high quality of manufacturing. That they kept their fucking high quality of manufacturing and of product, and the longevity of their products. And they gave us this planned obsolescence plastic bullshit. So it's not even something that has to happen. It's not that we forgot how to build quality products. We just figured out that we make more money if we don't. Phoebe, did you attend No Kings? Yes, you can actually look at me. You can watch me attending my, well, not my local, I guess, but one of the ones closest to me. You can see me attending a No Kings protest. I wish it wasn't. I wish it was even an option to find high quality and durable products, but alas, you can. You have to look super hard for them, though. That's the problem. That's the fucking problem, is that you have to look super hard for them, and some of them are so fucking expensive as to make it not worth it, and it's sometimes hard to distinguish a product that seems worth it but is just expensive from a product that is worth it because it's expensive. For example, the shoes I have on, I think they're from uh Haas, I think. But they're well, I'll show you one of them. It's a yeah, Haas um unisex leather boot. Uh um Protected toe with the metatarsal guard, genuine leather. I was working at a factory a while back, and that was part of the onboarding package. Was a voucher to get a pair of boots, and I got a little. I went a little bit over budget to get these. I went like $10 over budget because the voucher was worth 165, and these I think were listed at 170. After taxes, it was like 175, and I was more than happy to pay that because these were really comfortable on my feet, and they have thus far been the most consistently comfortable and wearable shoes I've ever had. The most durable shoes I've ever had, too, by far. There's these basically look like they did when I got them, and I got them almost a year ago. I know how to how to for like clothes and shoes, but not for like big expensive purchases like cars and appliances. Okay, cool, QB. Well, let me clue you in. So with cars, Japanese manufacturers have been doing really fucking big things lately, and when it comes to car safety, functionality, reliability, and shit like that, you can look no further than Japanese and South Korean offerings. Okay, we're talking Nissan, we're talking Honda, we're talking Hyundai, we're talking Toyota. All four of them make quality vehicles. All four of them are worth a look. Kia, another good one that's worth a look. Slightly less reliable than the other four I mentioned, and I would say out of the other four I mentioned, Hyundai would probably be the least reliable. Toyota would probably be the top. Honda is another one. I don't know if I mentioned them. Hondas are super reliable though, and super easy to work on. And well, they used to be. I'm assuming that they probably still are. I haven't heard anybody complaining about Hondas like becoming hard to work on or anything, so I'm assuming that they've probably remained relatively simple vehicles under the hood. What a freak! What makes me such a freak? And what is it? Am I a man or am I valid as a woman? Do I look like a woman who wouldn't know a lot about cars, or do I look like a man who should know? Which one is it? Transphobe? I just know you've got some position on this shit, so which is it? Noted Honda Odyssey dream car confirmed. Okay, for real though, Honda Odyssey's actually good cars. Yeah. No, I'm actually not kidding. Genuinely. Yeah, Honda Odyssey is a great fucking car. It doesn't have the best fucking gas mileage of any car you could get. It's a minivan, so it's not gonna. But I think it gets like 38 on the highway or something like that. And like 18 in the city, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I remember it gets pretty fucking good gas mileage for being a minivan. And if you're mostly doing highway driving, it's gonna fucking get good gas mileage. It's just gonna. I believe it's also a flex fuel, so you could even fuel it with much cheaper E85 and probably end up saving money that way. Minivan for life, unironically. No, I totally agree with you, QB. A lot of people might disagree with you, but let me sing the praises of minivans for you. Since you're not streaming or whatever, I'm on stream and I will fucking back you up, from my position in the stream. Dude, minivans are great. I lived in a minivan for fucking 2 years, the better part of 2 years. And that was fucking wild. And minivans are great. Here's all the reasons that they're great. Number one, if you want to turn it into some kind of place that you can kind of live in, sleep in, live out of, you can. Just remove all the seats. Pretty much every minivan they sell at this point either has seats you can fold all the way into the floor or seats that can be completely removed. Now, I will tell you, from what I can tell, the whole like completely removable seats thing is becoming less common. On the Chevy Venture I used to have, one of the reasons I love the Chevy Venture from 2003, and like I just think that this design for vans needs to come back, is because I don't know how to put this because it's just so novel in my mind. You could take every single one of the seats out without any tools. You didn't need a fucking. No, that's not true. No, did you? I think there might have been a couple of bolts to a couple of the seats, but they were very, very simple to remove if you wanted to use the minivan for hauling something. Minivans, woo! Thanks, Kiwi. But yeah, I can't remember exactly, but I remember the very back seats pulled out incredibly easily, and then I believe it was the ones next to the doors that you had to have a socket for or something like that to get them out. But I don't remember exactly. The thing I do remember, though, is that once you got the seats out, and it was a very easy operation to do so, it was just one solid floor surface from back to front. One solid floor surface. Here's a question for you, Sport. How many crankshafts does a V6 have? One. Is that a trick question? I feel like that's a trick question. No, I got it right. Is that a trick question? I feel like that's one of those questions that's like too obvious. Yeah, that's one of those questions that's too obvious. I guessed one, but I feel like I'm doubting myself because it feels like it's too obvious. Because the crankshaft is the thing that fucking connects to the connecting rods, and the camshafts are the things. So there could be multiple camshafts on a V engine. In fact, I think there has to be, right? I don't know. Now I'm stumped. The answer is blinker fluid. Yeah. The engine needs the gas and goes vroom. Well, see, I know more than that. Okay, so like I know the I think it's called the Brayton cycle. Um, so intake, compression, combustion, exhaust, right? I get that, and that converts the energy of the latent energy of fuel into kinetic energy, which drives the piston down, which, you know, drives the flywheel and the whole contraption really forward just a little bit. and then another piston at the same time is, well, not quite at the same time, but a little bit later is firing to get it to the next little portion, and then another piston fires to get it to the next little portion, and then, you synchronize all that shit up with a timing chain and a couple other components, and there you go. You got a car. I don't know. You would like my car. She goes room. I love you, Brie, because you have bimbo energy, and I love that. Classical liberalism was that happy medium that we all needed in America, but look where that went. What was classical liberalism? Fucking Milo Yiannopoulos? He was just a fucking, I don't know, dude, a self-hating gay conservative. Fucking weirdo. I don't know, man. But yeah, at least I know the basic fucking functions of how an engine works, I know that air and gas has to be mixed in order for the, either one to combust. I know that in a gasoline engine, a spark plug is used to initiate the combustion, and in a diesel engine, it's the pressure in the cylinder that initiates the combustion. At least I'm pretty sure that's the principle of operation in a diesel engine. I honestly don't know where classical liberals went. I feel pretty isolated in the political realm these days. Well, let me ask you a few things, Dilly Bar. What does classical liberalism mean? Because I heard a lot of different definitions of it back in the day, and I still don't quite know what it means. Steel or Husqvarna? Steel. 100%. I actually, well, whatever. I have a steel weed eater, and it is the fucking best thing ever. Literally. It's the best weed eater you could get, and it's not even the best one that Steel sells. I'm just saying, Steel makes the best fucking whatever it is. You need a small engine for something? Get a Steel. Husqvarna makes alright products, but they're not Steel. See, Sherry, I know my shit. Yeah, see, I know my shit. I swear to God, that fucking weed eater we got would cut through a fucking tree if you set it on it long enough. Kept replacing the string on it. That fucker you could cut down a fucking California redwood with that thing. You just kept it supplied with string. I swear to God. It'd do it. I would say one of the few masculine things about my personality is that I do kind of like yard work. But I don't know. I feel like that's just really a variation on the gardening thing. And I feel like that's feminine coded. So I don't know. Did you ever figure out what that weird sound was the other night? Yes, Bree. It was most likely a fox. They make a really fucking weird variety of sounds, and one of them did kind of sound like that. But honestly, there's no knowing for sure. We've got livestock, which means we've got predators prowling around. Not only that, but we live in the country and we've got a compost pile, which means we're throwing out a lot of the, anything that can compost and rot down gets thrown in the compost pile, not thrown in the garbage. It's one way that we try to reduce, and we reuse as often as we can, and we can't recycle in our area, so we just try to trash as minimally as we can, compact or trash down as much as we can, so that we're not producing as much as a family of 6 would normally. But that means we have a lot of compost and shit. Whenever something goes bad in the fridge or whatever goes out to the compost, and so that all of that attracts predators. Like the smell of active fermentation and rot, basically, which is what's going on in the compost pile, attracts things. It attracts. Some of it will attract predators, but a lot of it will just attract opportunists, like feral hogs, foxes, coyotes, possums, raccoons. What's going on now? Don't poison your brain with mask versus femme thinking hobbies. You're right, Bree. I shouldn't allow myself to fucking even entertain that shit, because logically I know that there's nothing feminine or masculine about any activity. Like, inherently, But I feel like it is, like, that's why I said femme-coded, I think, is because it's like my way of, it's my way of kind of dismissing the idea that it's like hardwired, you know? I don't know. I feel like there's all kinds of associations built up around gender, right? But a lot of them don't make any fucking sense, and they're all fucking arbitrary. Dude, Brie, you know what? Have you ever heard the song Gender is Boring? I bet you would love it. I'll play it for you if you haven't. I have not. Oh my god, do you want to hear it? It's a song by a trans woman about the contradiction between being a trans woman, but also kind of being like a gender abolitionist and recognizing the inherent stupidity of putting so much importance on how we dress and how we talk and present and all that, and how other people do. All right, bet. Let me make sure the guitar is in tune while I'm smoking this J and hopefully finishing this J, which I've let go out a million times, which is good. It means I'm pacing myself. Okay. Never wanted to be a princess, never asked anyone to braid my hair, never asked my mom to buy me things that I saw marketed towards girls, never wanted to wear a dress, and I was never obsessed with the color pink or sparkly much to me. Till people try to tell me how it's supposed to be. Till the people that I love started to say, boys, don't act that way. Boys, don't dress that way. Boys, don't talk that way. See, the problem I have with gender is that I'm not even sure whether I know what I say, when I say I'm a woman, because I know I am one. Because boys can wear dresses and makeup, anyone can wear whatever they want. Girls can have short hair and muscles, and that's where I run into trouble. Because if I use she pronouns, well, what does that mean? Am I reinforcing a gender binary that I don't believe in, that I don't adhere to? I tell you I'm a woman, what's that supposed to tell you? Gender doesn't tell you a damn thing about me. Doesn't tell you what I think, doesn't tell you what I speak. The people in your life don't love you if they say, boys, don't act that way. Girls, don't act that way. Boys, don't talk that way. Girls, don't talk that way. And I think it's high time that our culture move past this fucked up notion of the way that we act. It's determined at birth or that we have to choose. It's an imposed binary, and either way we lose. So do what you want and dress how you feel. Don't let anyone tell you that gender is real. I think it's time we put it in its place. So come on, let's move gender to an early grave. The people that you love don't love you if they say, boys, don't act that way. Boys, don't talk that way. Girls, don't dress that way. Girls, don't talk that way. Boys, don't talk that way. I love that song. And that is the first time I've ever performed that song. Well, not the first time I've ever performed it, but the first time I've performed it since my friend Marceline died that I've been able to play it without sobbing my eyes out. So, hey, progress. Wait, I have heard the song? I figured you had to have, but it's still worth playing regardless. Rip Marceline. Hope you're hanging out with Marsha P. Johnson in Trans Girl Heaven, if that exists. Probably doesn't, but it's a nice thought. Thank you, GPS, for the $2. Who wins? Trillaleta, Trillala, Bombardina, Crocodilio. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. The second one. Harder to pronounce name. That's what my friend Marcy named herself after, was the Marceline in Adventure Time. So. Poopy. I take a dirt nap, see you around. Okie dokie. pain. No, I never felt so strange. Hanging out with the drifters, the bullets and the pain just filled your head. No, I never wanted much. No, I never wanted much. And the road to the death. No, I never wanted someone else. Don't you think you should try a little? Make it all of me. It's just how you're wrong. Nothing. Just the way to get to end. What you gotta get out of nothing. There's nothing is the way it seems. Saw you in the silence. Saw you in the darkness. Crawling through the pillars of your pain. Crawling through the darkness. Crawling through the pillars of your pain. Judy, I can see you smile. I'm waiting here a while. Running from the weekend, looking through the daylight in your eyes. Don't you think you should try a little to make it all complete? This is how you're wrong, nothing. Just the way to get to him. But you gotta get out of nothing. 'Cause nothing is the way it seems. I saw you in the silence, saw you in the darkness, crawling through the pillars of your pain. Saw you in the silence, crawling through the pillars of your pain. Nobody knows that song. Nobody knows that song. Nobody knows that song. Dude, I play some of the most obscure fucking music on the planet, and I don't know why those are the songs I remember, dude. Fuck me. Why? Dude, I had this retarded position, and to some degree I still hold part of it, but dude, part of it I regret. I had this retarded position for a long time. I'm not gonna play any popular music. I'm gonna play the obscure shit. And that has benefited me sometimes, but man, it has fucked me over more times than not. Because I know shit like Starlight Number One by Mojave 3. Who the fuck has ever even listened to that song? Me. And like 7 other people on the planet. None of them are watching this live stream right now. What's another really obscure song I could play? Oh shit! Maybe that's what he's doing. Oh my god! I've wanted to play the song correctly for years! Oh, none of the tabs sounded right, but this might be right. Oh! Woo! Wendy gets up for the second show. Watching dance, watching flow for $1. Still gonna take me a minute to figure it quite out, but I'm getting closer. When he gets up for the second show, watching dance and watch a flow for $1. Left her home in a pickup truck. Left her husband when he beat her up. Her husband when he beat her up, and now she works all night. Trying to figure that shit out, dude. I'm just glad that I figured out around about what it's supposed to be. Oh my god. Okay, that's right. Man. There goes my life, it's passing by with every exit sign. It's been so long. Sometimes I wonder how I will stay strong. No sleep tonight. I'll keep on running these dark highway lines. And as the moon fades, it's one more night gone, only 20 more days. But I will see you again. I will see you again. A long time from now. There goes my life, it's passing by with every departing flight. And it's been so hard, so much time, so far apart. She walks the night. How many lives will die tonight? And as the moon fades, but one more night gone, only 7 more days. But I will see you again. I will see you again. A long time from now. My body aches, body aches, hurts to see. no one moving, and I wish that I were here tonight. But this is my life, and I will see you again. I will see you again. A long time from now, and I will see you again, and I will see you again. A long time from now. something, 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 something. Enjoyed the chat and tunes? Well, thank you, Sherry. Are we still here? I'm glad. I'm glad someone's here to listen to me breaking down. What do I think here? I can't think of how it starts. I am a shotgun rider on a San Jacinto line. The desert is my brother, my skin is cracked and dry. I was riding on a full coach and everything was fine till we took a shorter road to save some time. The bastards only fired once, they shot me in the chest. They may have wounded me, they'll never get the best of better men. And I'll ride again. I am a river gambler, make a living dealing cards. My clothes are smooth and honest, my heart is cold and dry. I was dealing horses and elder boys on a boat to New Orleans. I was the greatest shark they'd ever seen. But the captain hit a sandbar and an ace fell from my sleeve. They threw me overboard, I swore I didn't cheat, but I could swim. I'll ride again. We are heroes of the homeland, American remains. We wear so many faces and answer many names. We will not be forgotten, we won't be left behind. Our memories live on in mortal minds. And poets' pens will write again. I am a Midwest farmer, make a living off the land. I drive a John Deere tractor, I'm a liberated man. But the rain, it hasn't fallen since the middle of July. And if it don't come soon, my crops will die. Well, the banker says he likes me, but there's nothing he can do. He tells me that it's coming, but the clouds are coming too. He ain't my friend. I'll ride again. I am an American Indian. My tribe is Cherokee. My forefathers loved this land. They left it here for me. But the white man came with boats and planes and dirty factories, poisoned my existence with his greed. Nature is our mother, we are sucklings at her breast, and he who tries to tame her down will lose her to the rest. They'll never win. We'll ride again. We are heroes of the homeland, American remains. We wear so many faces and answer many names. We will not be forgotten, we won't be left behind. Our memories live on in mortal minds. And poets' pens will write again. I had a bunch of pie and I'm gonna eat more pie. Nice. Oh man, I forgot to make my pie. I bought a pie for dessert, but I forgot to make it. Fuck. Can't make it now. Fuck. Idiot of the highest caliber. Whatever. We had a dessert tonight anyway. I'll make that pie tomorrow. What's up? Conrocha. Can I call you Kenny in here? Is that cool? Kenny, guess what? Come here. Fuck. Come here. I'm really stoned. Shh. I'm gonna make some chili braised beef later. Oh, that sounds fucking delicious. That sounds really fucking good. Dude, I've been obsessed with smoking things recently. Smoking meats. I'm gonna be smoking some meats. No, but really. I've been obsessed with smoking shit because somebody in my family got a really fucking good deal on a smoker and a fucking grill. They got a $300 fucking electric smoker and a like fucking $400 or $500 grill, and with like the extra burner, and it's got like the solid steel grates and everything that are like thick steel and everything. Oh, it's so perfect. It's so good. I love it so much. Oh, I just want to cry. It's such a good grill, and the smoker is amazing too. But now that I have like an actual smoker that'll keep things the temp it's supposed to be, dude, I want to try all kinds of shit. I made some pulled pork and it was the best pulled pork I've made yet. Oh, it was so tender and juicy. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, dude, you got to get yourself a smoker. It's such a fucking worthy investment, dude. I'm telling you. There's so much delicious shit you can make in a smoker. I tell you, you do want some fucking crazy meal you can make in a smoker. Doesn't even, not a meal, but a side you can make with a smoker. It just doesn't even sound that good, but really it is. Okay, you ready for this shit? Okay? You fucking get a bunch of cabbage, of all things. Okay? You don't have to cook it down or anything first. No. No. In fact, it's best if you don't. Don't cook it down. Don't do none of that. Just literally fucking pile a bunch of cabbage and carrots and some onions in there if you want, and some seasonings and some olive oil, right? It's all you need. Just mix it all up and then put that in something like a big tinfoil baking dish is the best thing if you're gonna use a smoker for this recipe. Put it in that, literally just exposed. Don't put tinfoil over it or anything. Just put that in the smoker. Let it smoke at whatever the top setting, or what, if you've got like a basic electric smoker, like 275 or whatever, let it smoke at like 280 and for like an hour. It might not need as long, honestly, because I've not cooked it with an electric smoker yet, but you basically let it smoke for a little bit, like an hour or so, and by the time it's done, oh my god, the onions caramelize a little bit, parts of the cabbage caramelize, and the onion do too, so it ends up being like a sweet and savory, delicious fucking cabbage dish, and it's just really fucking good. It's really filling, really good, a lot of dietary fiber in there. Cabbage is your favorite brassica? My favorite brassica is. Ooh, that's a hard one. Oh, God, that's a hard one. If we're going to count all brassicas here, then I would have to say my ultimate favorite brassica has got to be mustard. But it's right up there with kale and collards. I think collards are a brassica. Dude, the fact that all brassicas are derivatives of wild mustard is fucking insane to me. Because you pick any two brassicas, they don't fucking look alike. They look like wildly different plants. It sounds hella good. It really is. You sing beautifully. Can you sing Stalin, See Your True Colors song or Pocahontas? No, I wish I could, but I can't. I've returned just to say, you have a lot of good qualities. I hope things get easier. Oh, well, thank you. I have a lot of good qualities. That sounds like I've got some bad qualities too. But, my pessimistic ass is way more interested in the bad qualities than the good qualities. It's like, oh, yeah, whatever. Of course I'm great. Whatever. Well, how am I evil, though? How am I bad? Wonder who I learned that from. Wonder where I picked that up at. I like to see the whole person. No, I know. I'm just making fun of myself for being kind of a narcissist, I guess. I guess that's one of my bad qualities, huh? Oh, shit. That's true. Post is a literal angel. Chat is way cooler without the right-wing nonsense. Oh, well, fucking duh. Yeah, of course it is. You grow broccoli, Brie? Oh, my God. I've always wanted to be able to grow broccoli, but it just does not grow very well in this climate. Maybe it will if we grow it in the winter, though. We've got some broccoli plants now. Holy shit, I've been streaming for 3 hours. It's fucking 2 o'clock now. What? Oh, by the way, Brie, are you Neurotica on Discord? I kind of like the right wing people too. I mean, they keep the conversation flowing, and they give me an opportunity to dismiss and refute a lot of right wing talking points. So I'm cool with them. Yes. Okay. Cool. Well, I will add you back when I get off this stream, which will probably not be very long. I do have more time tonight than I normally would, but I don't want to stay out here till 4 in the morning. Much as I think I could somehow convince people to sit around for that long. I think I just taught myself a song, y'all. The stream is fucking laggy. Ben's across the room and he's fucking laughing at me. It ain't my fault that I'm fat. I was poor as a kid and I had a bad back. It's not my fault, I don't deserve it. Let me talk to IKEA customer service. Santa called that kid fat. Still can't believe he did that. And I've been doing it backwards a doing since 1992. Salty ball, round as a ball. And I'm fat cause my back is bent. No telling where my couch from IKEA went. Salty ball, round as a ball. Dude, I cannot believe I was able to teach myself that song on the fucking fly. Some support for our trans sister. Aw, thank you, fucking Kenny. I love you. Thank you. That was sweet of you. Thank you for the $5. If I'm listening to AJJ, that's when you know I'm in crash out territory. Me too. Holy shit. I'm glad that got such a positive reaction. That is fucking awesome. Well, let me play it with more vim and vigor then. The screen is fucking laggy. Ben's across the room and he's fucking laughing at me. It ain't my fault that I'm fat. I was poor as a kid and I have a bad back. It's not my fault, I don't deserve this. Let me raise it up a little bit, that'll sound better. It's not my fault, I don't deserve this. Let me talk to IKEA customer service. Can I call that kid fat? Still can't believe he did that. And I've been doing it backwards and doing it since 1992. Salty ball, round as a ball. And I'm fat cause my back is bent. No telling where my couch from IKEA went. Salty ball, round as a ball. Hell yeah. I don't know the second verse, or I'd play the rest of it. Dude. I can't believe that I can play that song. That's great. I learned those Sex Twister songs? Nah, dude. I wasn't that hard. Okay, yes, I was. But I'm not going to learn the Sex Twister songs, probably. Probably not going to learn the Sex Twister songs. Do you know Scotty doesn't know? No. But I do know a song called Watching Scotty Die. We'll close out guitar song. We'll close out guitar time with the saddest song I know. How about it? I've got a kid, his name is Scott. He's going blind and his blood just will not clot. The doctors lied in rows to stick tubes up Scotty's nose. There's a field where Scotty used to play until Ortho Orange number 42 was dumping it one day. I think it's so funny, I laugh until I cry, just me and God. Oh, watching Scotty die, just me and God. Watching Scotty die. Chemical plant across the street puts off steam that colors our white sheets. It's been happening for years. Now we're crying rainbow tears. One day my dog went out to play. Instead of gray, he came back colored yellow. The chemical man said stay mellow. It happens all the time. Now Scotty's skin is turning lime, just me and God. Oh, watching Scotty die, just me and God. Watching Scotty die, just me and God. Watching Scotty die, just me and God. Watching Scotty die. Whew. Ain't enough payout money in the fucking whole fucking global economy to make up for all the lives taken by rampant, unchecked corporate pollution. You could throw money at it for the next 500 years and you wouldn't come close. Oh, you too, Kenny. Yeah, good night. You hung up the phone and I asked you what was wrong. Your dad has come to town. He'd like to meet. I said you don't have to see him, but for whatever reason you can't tell him no. So we meet him in a park. You were holding my hand hard. He ordered rum and coke. I can't drink either anymore. Hadn't seen you since the 5th grade. Now you're 19 and you're 5'8". He says, honey, you sure look great. Do you get the kisses and the birthday? How would you do him if you let me? I would kill him quick and easy. Your nails are digging into my knee. I don't know how you keep fighting. I love your eyes and eyes of who you have eyes, 'cause he was first. I imagine your thumbs on the irises pressing in until they burst. I clear my head and say we've gotta get on. He offers us a ride. I reply, no, that's alright. When we read, we feel watching. So we walk a mile in the wrong direction. I would kill him if you let me. I would kill him quick and easy. Your nails are digging into my knee. I don't know how you keep fighting. I don't know how you keep fighting. No, I don't know how you keep fighting. I wanna take my hand between your hand between my hands and say you two are connected by a pure coincidence, bound to him by blood, but baby, it's all relative. You've been in his face ever since you were a kid, but you don't know him shit, even if he says you did. You don't know him shit, even if he says you did. Me. Is that the Dashton? The Dashton that I called Bastion? Night Thieves, I look forward to seeing you. Oh, I read that one. Nice. Well, he didn't do too bad today in terms of super chats, honestly. I don't know if we've got anything on Cash App. Probably not. No. No. Nothing on Cash App. But we did pretty good on Super Chats. We did $17.99 for this stream and I think like $19.99 earlier, so it's like almost $40, which is pretty good. If I can make over 500 next month, that'd be nice. Because right now it's just looking like I will. If I can repeat that success, dude, I'm doing good. One morning in March, I was taking the land with my brogues on me, fading me, spading me hand. And I says to myself, what if I've something to say? Such a dashing young lad and me stuck here in Tralee. With me turtum and ya, with me turtum and ya, with me turtum and yadum and yadum and ya. So I butted me brogues and shook hands with me spade, and I went to the fair like a dashing young blade. There I met me a sergeant, he asked me to list. Gra, Mr. Sergeant, stick the bob in me fist. With me turtum and ya, with me turtum and ya, with me turtum and yadum and yadum and ya. The first thing they gave me, they called it a gun. The first thing they gave me, it was a red coat with a white strap of leather to wear on me throat. They gave me a queer thing, I asked what was that, and they told me it was a sachet for me hat. With me totem and ya, with me totem and ya, with me totem and yodum and yodum and ya. Well, the next thing they gave me, they called it a gun with powder and ball and a place for me thumb. First she spat fire and then she spat smoke, and she gave a great leap that me shoulder near broke. When me totem, yeah, when me totem, yeah, when me totem, and yeah, and yeah. Yerp, it's me. Yawning is contagious. Now I gotta go get checked because I'm yawning. Yeah. I'm sleepy as fuck and I'm really high, so yeah. I'm pretty yawny. What can I say? I've been streaming for like fucking 3 hours, so it's almost time for me. Like, it's really time for me to just get off here. It's fucking 4 viewers, dude. I don't care if I'm at fucking 62 likes. It's there's four of you left. Of the 62 that liked the stream enough to sit around for a while, 4 of them are left. So, but I will say I really liked how throughout that whole exchange with Brett Keane the other day, the one thing you were fixated on was my zodiac sign, which I thought was pretty hilarious and pretty funny. I don't know why, but it just, to me, that was one of the funniest things about that whole interaction. It's one of my favorite moments in it. Um, I don't know. My mom is an astrology freak, and I kind of think that, you know, I don't know. I guess there's something to it. I don't know that there's a lot to it. I'm more skeptical of it than most astrology people are, but I think it's an interesting thought experiment at the very least. And you know, I also just like, tend to get along with astrology chicks, so it's just like natural, that I would be cool with it, I guess. I know at least a little bit, you know. I like the pentacle back there. I just showed up. Yeah, dude. Well, that's the things. People cycle through these at different times, Jareth, you're way more part of the night audience. Dude, I did a stream in daytime this morning, or this afternoon, or whatever. And dude, it was fucking full of people that aren't normally in here, but that are subscribed to the channel. Which I guess probably woke YouTube up to the fact that I do, in fact, have an active user base, which is probably why they put me in the algorithm again. Anyway, well, I guess I'll stay on for another minute or two. But you guys are gonna have to fucking chat while I pack me a bowl, my good night bowl. I'll probably take a hit or two with you guys, and then to save the rest for myself and my private consumption. Topic prompt: AI, good or bad, or mixed? Mixed bag. I fall into the mixed bag territory myself. Man, I sent Paul a message, Paul Zigo a message on Discord. He probably, won't see it for a while, and that's fine. But I hope he, I hope he does. I hope he looks at it, because if he is serious about wanting to do like this, like one-on-one debate show kind of thing, like I feel like national divorce has been in the conversation. I'm against the national divorce. He's pro national divorce, but we're both lefties, so I think it could be an interesting conversation. And I think there's a number of angles to it too, which is one of the reasons I think that it'll be interesting. There's an economic angle. The argument, is it more expensive to do a massive, like the biggest relocation project ever in human history, or just keep supporting the southern states and try to do some kind of reconstruction too? Would it be cheaper to do that? So there's economic concerns with it. There are like practicality concerns across the board, like when it comes to military strength and the concentration of firearms and people that are trained with them and everything, which actually I think California has a lot of that. Oregon certainly has a lot of that. West Coast has plenty of that. I don't know if the Northeast has a lot of that. I guess certain areas of it probably do. I think planets and stars influence our lives in some way, but the stuff astrologers say is wild. Well, yeah, that's kind of what I mean. They go pretty nuts with it, but the idea that all that shit could affect our lives, it's like, well, obviously it affects our lives in ways we can demonstrate, like the tides and everything are controlled by moons, or by the moon. But what greater effect it has, I think that's a little more shaky. I've been on to see. I feel like a lot of people would, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. I think if the only discussion that it generates is that one post in the DFF subreddit, then it probably won't end up getting to be, an episode of the discourse or whatever Paul's going to call it. I think he said he didn't want to go with the discourse because there's already a bunch of YouTube shows with that name. I'm trying to think of good names for a show like that. I don't know. I'm pretty agnostic on that national divorce, but I'm willing to hear any argument. Yeah, I mean, I would be arguing against it because I just don't think it would work. I think it would be the most insane expenditure of taxpayer funds from both or all of the involved nations that's ever been seen. Like, it would literally involve I don't know how you would do it. I literally don't. Because it's one thing to, provide people with the ability, just the baseline ability, to get a bus ticket up to whatever blue state or down to whatever red state. It's another thing to actually provide them housing when they get there. And if it's all to be done on a market basis, then there's going to be a lot of people left out in the cold because, they can afford to get out there, but they can't afford to do anything when they get there. And I guarantee you part of this process would probably be you have to have some means to support yourself out there, or they would have to implement some kind of land reform or set aside a bunch of low income housing to be no income housing, basically just like halfway housing for people moving into a blue area or into a red area. I just feel like there would have to be a lot of fucking support for this, and I feel like it would be a way bigger expenditure than Reconstruction 2. Reconstruction 2 meaning federalizing a bunch of the South's fucking institutions. A bunch of them. It would be chaos for sure. Well, that's what I was saying on the subreddit. I was saying this would be pandemonium in the streets. This would literally be fucking pandemonium on the streets. There would be, and the argument I made was like, okay, let's just assume that every person who voted Kamala is going to want to flee the South. Okay, let's just assume, right? Fair enough. Okay, that's 38% of Mississippi. That's over 1 million people. Mississippi is one of the least populous southern states, though. It's right down there with uh, fucking Alabama and bullshit like that. No, you really want to look at a southern state with a big population? A lot of people voted Kamala. Look at Texas. You're talking over 10 million people. You're talking more like 12 million people. 12 million people from one state alone. Add in the million from Mississippi, that's 13 million people. Add in the million from Alabama that probably want to leave, that's 14 million people. Add in the probably 1.5 million from Louisiana that want to move, that's 15 million fucking people. 15 million people that have to be relocated. It's just absurd. Now, sure, maybe a lot of those people wouldn't want to fucking leave. But even if you assume half of each of those want to leave, that's still 7 million people. It's like, fuck, dude. Where are you going to fucking put 7 million people? Especially they're all coming over the course of a year, 2 years. What's the time limit on this? If it's fucking, within a year or two, man, you thought dealing with millions of homeless people over the last 20 years was bad? Wait till you get 7 million not homeless people all at once. I don't think it's plausible at all. Not only do I think I think it's economically unfeasible, but I also think it's culturally and politically unfeasible as well. Like, we can't even get Congress right now to agree on sustaining some stupid fucking healthcare subsidies. That, and I say stupid because it's like such a minor thing that everybody should just go along with. I guess it's not stupid, but you know what I mean. It's like, why are we so concerned about healthcare subsidies at a time like this? Who cares? Or no, that's not what I meant to say. Okay, that's not what I meant to say. I'm not saying who cares. Okay, I'm trying to say, like, what the problem is? I'm fucking hungry, and so I'm thinking about food, and so that was just like my internal narration coming out. No, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, we're fighting over fucking healthcare subsidies because the Republicans are unwilling to come over on even that. It's such a fucking minor thing that we should just go along with. Obviously, it's like such a half measure of a half measure. It should be no shit. So we can't even get our Congress to agree on that no brainer type of shit.
I do always for free birth chart roasting reviews, but a required month, day, year, time, AM, PM of birth, uh, and a city and state that is the same time zone as you were born, and we don't want to dox ourselves. Duh.
Well, no, yeah, for sure. Yeah, a natal chart comprises a whole bunch of information. All that shit you just said. My mom has showed me my natal chart at some point, and I couldn't tell you fucking thing one about it. I don't know what any of those symbols mean. I don't know what any of that shit means. I literally feel like I'm looking at crackhead writing whenever I look at a natal chart. I literally feel like I'm looking at the scribblings of a meth head. I know I'm not, but that's what it looks like to my dumbass. I want Sonic. I want Sonic so bad. I need to get fucking Treat Stream. But even if I had Treat Stream, I don't. I'm that fucking. Ah! I'm gonna cry. I live in such a fucking small town. I don't even live in fucking town. Number one. Number two, the town that is like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever fucking stupid shit it is. It's fucking Sonic's closed now anyway. I can't get Sonic tomorrow without eating into my meetup budget, and I don't want to do that. So I can't. But boy, do I want some. Boy, do I want some. I don't even know what I want from there either. No, yeah, I do. You know what? I want mozzarella sticks. Fucking chili cheese coney. I want a damn Sonic burgers. And a Route 44 cherry lime. Okay, well, it's almost 3 in the morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm really tired. I'm really sleepy. Really tired and really sleepy. This cat loves me. Anyway, ta-ta for now. Goodbye. Das war dann ja Coraline. Das